Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales. Chapter 44-46. Of course, Kang Xinmu's group of 5 didn't know that someone was plotting against them. They entered the blazing desert and hunted the demonic beasts as quickly as possible. Most of the demonic beasts in the blazing desert were extremely heat-resistant. There were insect-like demonic beasts with carapaces, worms like sandworms, and sand beasts with extremely thick skin. These sand beasts could store large amounts of water in their bodies, so they could survive in the blazing desert. Kang Xinmu's group killed their way over and encountered many Demon King-level demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were basically at the 3rd level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. There were all kinds of demonic beasts from the 6th level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. To Kang Xinmu, demonic beasts of this level posed no difficulty. Even if he was alone, he could finish them off. Now that the 5 of them formed a team, it was even easier to finish off a Demon King of this level. Even the relatively weaker Ran and Liang Xiao could fight against a 6th level Rebirth Tribulation realm Demon King if they joined forces. It was a little difficult to defeat them, but with Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl around, they didn't have to worry about not being able to kill their opponents. As for Kang Xinmu, he was undoubtedly the backbone of the team. Other than Kang Xinmu, the only male among the 5, Liang Xiao, admired Kang Xinmu from the bottom of his heart. It was more efficient for the 5 of them to hunt demonic beasts together, but there was a drawback: the experience points they obtained had to be divided into 5 portions. However, before they set off, they agreed that each of them would get different portions. They divided the experience points into 15 portions, with Liang Xiao and Ran getting 2 portions each, Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl getting 3 portions each, and Kang Xinmu getting 5 portions each. The 4 of them unanimously agreed and recommended that Kang Xinmu was qualified to get this distribution. Ran even felt that Kang Xinmu getting 1/3 was considered too little. After all, if Kang Xinmu came alone, he could easily finish off those Demon Kings. Once they encountered a Demon Emperor, they would need Kang Xinmu's main fighting force. Otherwise, it would be impossible to defeat a Demon Emperor. No matter what, the 5 of them had agreed to this method of distribution. Kang Xinmu couldn't possibly share it with them. After all, Kang Xinmu needed a lot of experience points, even more than the others. After he reached the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation stage, he noticed something. Even though his devouring energy was able to completely devour the energy of the heavens and the earth from some treasures of heaven and earth, the total amount of energy he required to raise his cultivation level exceeded that of others. This puzzled Kang Xinmu. Although the devouring power was very strong, it was much more difficult to improve compared to other innate powers. This was considered fair for the other dragon martial artists. It was obvious that there was a conservation of power between heaven and earth. It was impossible to obtain stronger power for no reason. Although Kang Xinmu surpassed other dragon martial artists in the same realm, he had to put in more effort than others to reach this realm. In the blazing desert, Kang Xinmu and the other 4 constantly hunted sandworms and sand beasts, but they only encountered Demon King-level opponents. About 4 hours later, the 5 of them killed at least 10 Demon King-level opponents and obtained 10 demon cores. They were temporarily kept in Kang Xinmu's hands and hadn't been distributed. At this time, the 5 of them almost simultaneously discovered that there were some unnatural undulations in the desert in front of them. There was a strong smell of blood coming from the undulations. There's a Demon Emperor-level demonic beast hunting other demonic beasts. Kang Xinmu's expression changed slightly. He carefully sensed the aura and discovered that it was a Demon Emperor at the 3rd level of the Reincarnation Tribulation stage. Its strength was almost equivalent to White Scorpion Qianbing. It wouldn't be easy for Kang Xinmu to kill it alone. However, with Xiao Yuhua and the others present, Kang Xinmu wasn't afraid at all. Let's go and hunt Demon Emperors. Kang Xinmu recalled the first time he came to the Beast Abyss. He was lucky enough to encounter someone hunting Demon Emperor soaring serpents. The soaring serpents were much stronger than the desert demonic beasts in front of them. It was obvious that Kang Shinmu wasn't much stronger than the students in the Fecta zone back then. There might even be a slight gap between them. After all, he had stepped into the Fecta zone now. However, the key was that the quota for each cultivation zone had increased. Some of the students in the Fecta zone had even reached the core divine center zone. There was naturally a gap. For example, Boulder Destiny Dragon and Wu Machan from the Northern Desolate Dragon Martial Academy were much stronger than Kang Shinmu in the Fecta zone. They must be even stronger now. As Kang Shinmu attacked, the other four immediately followed. Together with Kang Shinmu, they launched a violent attack in the direction of the Demon Emperor's aura. The five people's dragon martial techniques descended at almost the same time. Sand billowed in the sky. In the entire desert, the Demon Emperor was blasted into a huge pit by the five people's attacks. The five dragon kings flew up and looked down at the sand pit. They saw a Demon Emperor sandworm in the sand pit. It seemed to be hunting two demon kings and had just swallowed them. As a result, the Demon Emperor sandworm was attacked by Kang Shinmu and the other four people, and its body was covered in wounds. The Demon Emperor sandworm's physical defense was very strong. However, at this moment, it was covered in wounds. It had been lightly injured by Kang Shinmu and the other four people's attacks. In particular, the phoenix dance of the laughing language flowers burning the 9 heavens pattern had left countless charred marks on the Demon Emperor sandworm's body. The existence of those charred marks made the Demon Emperor sandworm suffer even more pain when it was withstanding the fire elemental power. Continue to attack and kill it. Kang Shinmu did not want to give the other party a chance to fight back. He knew that there were many groups of such Demon Emperor sandworms in the Raging Flame Desert. Most of them were at the Demon Emperor level. Once they bought some time for the Demon Emperor sandworm to escape, they would probably have to face a group of Demon Emperor sandworms. Just like the first time he came to the Raging Flame Desert. At that time, he had taken advantage of others. This time, he did not want others to take advantage of him. Therefore, under Kang Shinmu's orders, the five people attacked immediately. This violent attack was the most powerful attack that each of them could use, and it fell on the Demon Emperor sandworm at the same time. The terrifying power suddenly bloomed, and the entire sand pit was blasted even bigger. As for the Demon Emperor sandworm, its body became extremely weak under the attacks of the five people. The white-dressed girl's ice-splitting heaven-breaking slash froze the Demon Emperor sandworm's body into an ice mountain. Countless waves of hot air surged in the surroundings and howled, completely trapping the Demon Emperor sandworm, making it impossible for it to escape. Most importantly, the Demon Emperor sandworm was seriously injured. It wanted to escape, but it was frozen by the white-dressed girl's attack and could not move. Phoenix Dance of the 9 Heavens. Laughing Language Flower did not hesitate and attacked for the third time. It was the same Phoenix Dance of the 9 Heavens, but it was combined with the white-dressed girl's ice reincarnation power, and it was even more powerful. In addition to the two previous flames. Chapter 44-47. No one had expected that they would be able to kill the monstrous Emperor Sandworm with just 2 attacks from their joint forces. Obviously, the 5 of them working together were much more powerful than one of them alone. Good, it seems that the 4 of you are enough to deal with such a demon emperor. I don't need to do anything at all. Kang Shinmu smiled. Obviously, apart from him, the other 4 members of the team were not weak. Just now, Kang Shinmu had only used the power of the Great Wilderness Demon Rinsing Sword to launch 2 virtual dragon sky-roaring breaks, which were not very powerful. The most important thing was that the Demon Emperor Sandworm could not resist the attacks of the other 4. Killing a Demon Emperor at the 3rd level of the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm with 2 attacks was quite a good result. It could be considered that the Demon Emperor Sandworm was killed directly without giving it a chance to escape. Next, it was time to harvest. Kong Shinmu took the lead and flew down. He did not deactivate his divine dragon form, but approached cautiously, in case there was a sudden attack from below the desert. After all, there were many demonic beasts with strong concealment abilities in this desert. It was impossible to guard against them. Even Kong Shinmu might not be able to perceive the existence of the other party. But at this time, he worried too much. If there were other demonic beasts lying in ambush below, it would not have been so peaceful when they attacked the Demon Emperor Sandworm. Soon, Kong Shinmu took out the demon cores of the Demon Emperor Sandworm. At the same time, he found that the Demon Emperor Sandworm had just swallowed the Demon Emperor Sandworm's Demon Emperor Sandworm and had not had time to digest them. Just now, their attacks had torn the Demon Emperor Sandworm into pieces, and the 2 demon cores had rolled out, which was an extra harvest. It's been less than 6 hours since we came in, and we've already gained quite a lot from hunting demonic beasts. Kong Shinmu was quite happy. Even if he could only get 1/3 of it, it was still a very big income. It would have taken him at least a month of hard work to get the experience points he had gained in the Yuheng district. Even if it was an ordinary student in the Fekta district, it would take him 7 days to get the experience points by completing the experience points. This was only their harvest in 6 hours. For Kong Shinmu, this rate of harvest was not bad. At this rate, he only needed to stay here for half a month to accumulate enough experience points to exchange for treasures of heaven and earth. This would allow his Dragon King level blood essence to break through to the 7th level. After the 5 of them killed the Demon Emperor Sandworm, they continued to fly deeper into the flaming desert. Clearly, the Demon Emperor Sandworms in this place were not their limit. They could still hunt and kill stronger Demon Emperors. As long as they could kill stronger Demon Emperors, they would gain even more. Even if the level of the Yao Core was only 1 level higher, the value would be doubled. With their current abilities, they could definitely try to deal with experts at the 4th or even the 5th tier of the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm like the Dragon Emperor. Kong Shinmu's limit was to devour the power of a 4th tier Reincarnation Tribulation Realm Demon Emperor and make it his own. As for a 5th tier Reincarnation Tribulation Realm Demon Emperor, once it appeared, even Kong Shinmu had to deal with it carefully. If he was not careful, his head would be separated from his body. After all, Kong Shinmu's Divine Dragon Tyrant body technique had not been cultivated to the great success stage, so his body could not completely withstand such a strong attack. However, before they could see the next Demon Emperor, an unexpected scene suddenly appeared in front of them. They saw a familiar figure of a white divine dragon suddenly appear in the flaming desert not far in front of them. It collapsed on the surface of the flaming desert, seemingly unconscious. It's White Scorpion Qian Bing. Everyone's expression changed slightly. They did not expect to meet White Scorpion Qian Bing here. Why was Qian Bing here? Be careful, don't fall into Qian Bing's trap. Everyone knew what kind of character White Scorpion had. They all looked at each other and became vigilant. If he had seen any other dragon martial artist student collapsing in the desert, Kong Shinmu would have already transformed into a dragon and gone over to check. After all, he was skilled and daring. His black dragon body's defense was extremely strong, so he did not need to worry under normal circumstances. But now, the person who appeared in front of them was White Scorpion Qian Bing. This woman had always had a bad reputation, so it was impossible for Kong Shinmu to run up to her casually. Could it be that she was attacked and fell here? Or is it just a trap to lure us over? Everyone secretly guessed. However, just as they were guessing where they were, a vortex of a formation suddenly appeared in the nearby desert. This formation vortex brought with it rolling yellow sand, and in an instant, Jiang Shenwu and the other 4 were shrouded within it. At the same time, countless yellow sand condensed into incomparably sharp sword chi brilliance, sweeping towards Kong Shinmu's group of 5. This was a trap, an ambush. It's an array ambush. Kang Shinmu's face darkened. With a dragon roar, his black dragon body swung its tail, directly blocking the other four. But even so, he could only help them block the attack from one side. He could not block the attack from the other side. Seeing that the situation was critical, the other four did not hesitate at all. Each of them displayed their defensive dragon skills and blocked the yellow sand sword chi brilliance from the other side. Moreover, Ran Ran had also cultivated the chaotic dragon body to the heaven tier. At this moment, she directly blocked the attack from the other side with Kang Shinmu. Die! It was also at this moment that a violent roar erupted from the yellow sand. It was an earth divine dragon, hiding in the yellow sand and suddenly exploding. Or rather, this earth divine dragon had transformed into the form of yellow sand and blended into the blazing desert, so Kang Shinmu and the others did not notice it. One had to know that Kang Shinmu's perception was extremely strong, but he did not notice this earth divine dragon. This showed how powerful its concealment and camouflage ability was. At this moment, Kang Shinmu did not know the identity of the other party. He only knew that he had been ambushed. Since that was the case, he would fight back. The violent yellow sand sword chi brilliance was like the sharpest weapon in the world, slashing at the divine dragon bodies of Kang Shinmu and Ran Ran. Then, on Ran Ran's body, deep bloody wounds were left. Even Kang Shinmu suffered some minor injuries from the other party's attack. One could imagine that the other party's strength was even stronger than White Scorpion Qian Bing. It was a pity that the demonic beasts in the blazing desert were basically earth demonic beasts. In the past 6 hours, Kang Shinmu had already devoured a lot of earth elemental power, so his resistance to earth elemental power had reached the extreme. Therefore, the other party's attack, which was supposed to kill, did not kill Kang Shinmu. Chapter 44-48. Then, a khaki berserk dragon appeared in front of Kang Shinmu and the others. Wild Sand Sword Dragon. This person was from the Northern Wilderness Dragon Martial Academy. He was a burly man with a sturdy body. He was a student from the Fekta district. Who are you? Kang Shinmu blocked his opponent's attack and looked sideways. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Ran Ran was fine. His divine dragon eyes were cold as he looked at the khaki berserk divine dragon that appeared in front of him. The wild sand sword dragon was a little stunned. He did not expect that his carefully arranged ultimate attack would fail to kill Kang Shinmu, and even Ran Ran was only seriously injured. Their target was Kang Shinmu. As for Ran Ran, it was best not to kill her. But in this situation, as long as they could kill Kang Shinmu, it did not matter what happened to the others. If they could protect her, they would. If not, there was nothing they could do. The key was that Kang Shinmu was unharmed. How was that possible? Wild Sand Brilliant Sword Dragon's heart sank. He had set up a spirit array here, and with the support of the spirit array, he was able to unleash such a powerful attack. It has reached the level of a Tianxian student. If he had the time to set up a formation during the school tournament, he could have reached the level of a student from the Heavenly Jade District if he had used his full strength. At this moment, he was unable to hurt Kang Shinmu, which undoubtedly made his face extremely ugly. However, he did not panic. When he heard Kang Shinmu's question, he smiled awkwardly and said, "Sorry, I mistook you for someone else. I am a group of students from the Northern Wilderness Dragon Martial Academy who were ambushing here." Sorry. Hearing his words, the other 4 people except for Kang Shinmu were relieved. Since he was not targeting them, it would be easy to deal with them. However, Kang Shinmu's expression turned cold. He felt that this guy was obviously lying. One had to know that the Beast Abyss was a special place. If they really wanted to ambush their opponents here, they had to be absolutely sure. If they failed, their opponents would be able to escape. Furthermore, they would have to be extra careful in the future. The chances of success would be extremely low. Therefore, if the Wild Sand Glorious Blade Dragon was really ambushing students from the same academy, it would definitely find another opportunity and not choose a place like the Beast Abyss. What's more, Kong Shinmu and the others' divine dragon aura couldn't be more obvious. How could they mistake something so simple? Just as Kong Shinmu's face turned cold and he was about to expose his opponent, two tornado-like attacks suddenly swept towards him from below and above his head. Another surprise attack. This time, what appeared above their heads was a pitch-black Dragon Emperor powerhouse. It was also in the Fekta region and possessed a cultivation of the third tier of the Samsara realm. At this moment, pure dark energy erupted from it and covered the sky of the nearby scorching desert. Only the shadow of a storm was cast. This storm shadow was like a storm that could destroy everything. It swept towards where Kong Shinmu was. After the Wild Sand Glorious Blade Dragon's attack, Kong Shinmu and Xiao Yuhua's group had inadvertently separated a little. As a result, this time, the attacks from above and below their heads were directly aimed at Kong Shinmu alone. As for the power that swept up from below Kong Shinmu's feet, it came from a green divine dragon. Its entire body was covered in green whirlwinds. Countless storm tornadoes mixed with countless wind blades swept up. As expected, it's coming for me. Kong Shinmu's face darkened. When he realized that the two attacks were aimed at him, he instantly understood the other party's goal. The black dragon above his head was from the Northern Wilderness Dragon Martial Academy, and the wind dragon below his feet was from Donghuang Yongwu College. This time, the three Dragon Martial Academies had actually joined forces to deal with him? No, there's still one more. Kong Shinmu subconsciously looked at White Scorpion Qianbing who had fainted on the ground. White Scorpion Qianbing was still unconscious in the desert. However, Kong Shinmu knew that Qianbing was definitely one of the assassins. Obviously, assassinations in the Beast Abyss were much more difficult than assassinations in the outside world. They had to kill in one hit. Otherwise, the target might very well return to the Dragon Martial Academy through Emperor Shi's seal. If that happened, the assassination would fail and the opponent would be alerted. Although White Scorpion Qianbing did not attack and only pretended to be unconscious in the desert, her purpose was to attract the attention of Kong Shinmu and the others. No matter what Kong Shinmu and the others thought, when they saw White Scorpion Qianbing unconscious in the desert, they would definitely be distracted for a moment. No matter how they guessed, when White Scorpion appeared in front of them, they would have to think about something. Taking this opportunity to launch a surprise attack, they could make Kong Shinmu and the others have no time to think about anything else. They could only take their attacks head-on. It was a well-planned plan. However, the first attack failed, so they could only launch a second attack. The success rate of the second attack was much lower. This was because Kong Shinmu must have been prepared. Seeing that he could not win, he would definitely activate Emperor Shi's seal and return to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. They were just taking a gamble. They were betting that Kong Shinmu was very confident in himself and was willing to stay behind and take their attacks. After all, entering the Beast Abyss once would cost experience points. No one wanted to waste these experience points. Most importantly, each student could only enter the Beast Abyss once a month. After entering once this month, they would not be able to enter again. It would be a waste of time. Therefore, although there was no danger to one's life in the Beast Abyss, that was only relatively speaking. Throughout history, many Dragon Martial Artist students had been killed in the Beast Abyss due to greed, reluctance, and other emotions during their training. Therefore, the other party was betting that Kong Shinmu also had the same greed and reluctance. Two attacks came from above and below. As for the Wild Sand Brilliant Sword Dragon, it did not attack again. After all, it realized that its attack had no effect on Kong Shinmu. It just stood at the side and blocked Xiao Yuhua and the others who wanted to help. Although the wild sand brilliant sword dragon could not do anything to Kong Shinmu, it was still a great threat to Xiao Yuhua and the others. After all, it had set up the yellow sand sword formation here. Its battle prowess was directly increased by 2 or 3 times. If it really wanted to kill Xiao Yuhua and the others, it would be possible to succeed after 2 more attacks. With the wild sand brilliant sword dragon blocking, even if Xiao Yuhua and the others wanted to help Kong Shinmu, it was too late. They could only watch as Kong Shinmu faced the 2 waves of attacks alone. "You guys are too naive," Kong Shinmu sneered. Until now, there was really no student in the Fecta district who could kill him. That white scorpion Xian Bing was already considered one of the stronger ones in the Fecta district. Even if the 2 people attacking Kong Shinmu were the strongest in the Fecta district, they could not do anything to Kong Shinmu. Divine Dragon Tyrant Body Technique. Guardian Stance. Kong Shinmu had never thought of escaping back to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy. Instead, he directly unleashed the Divine Dragon Tyrant Body Technique's Guardian Stance. A layer of the Divine Dragon Tyrant Body Technique's powerful strength directly enveloped Jiang Shenwu's Divine Dragon Body, doubling the strength of his physical body. Instantly, it was as solid as a fortress, like an indestructible black divine rock. Chapter 44-49. Xiao Yuhua and the others were shocked to see the power converging and erupting. Such a terrifying attack was definitely at the peak level of the Fecta district. When the 2 joined forces, it was definitely at the level of the Jade district. It would be a piece of cake for them to kill a student of the Jade district. Could Kong Shinmu really withstand it? He's dead. Outside the attack range of the 2, the wild sand sword dragon sneered. He's so confident in himself. Does he really think that his physical defense is that strong? The hellbound abyssal dragon's reincarnation attribute can corrode flesh. This effect is useless on normal days, but it's very effective against a body-refining dragon martial artist like Kong Shinmu. Apart from that, it can also have extraordinary effects when dealing with demonic beasts and demonic creatures. The wild sand sword dragon's words made Xiao Yuhua and the others even more nervous. The hellbound abyssal dragon. That was referring to the divine dragon inheritance of the black dragon above Jiang Shenwu's head. The power of the infernal abyssal dragon indeed possessed the power to corrode one's physical body. Its destructive power to the physical body was several times greater. However, in the next moment, as soon as the wild sand sword dragon's voice fell, everyone saw the dust on the battlefield dissipate, and black smoke spread out. The dragon scales on the surface of Kong Shinmu's body seemed to have been damaged to a certain extent. He was injured. But to say that he would die was simply a fool's dream. Although Kong Shinmu was injured, his injury was not as serious as that of Ran Ran. Even under the effect of the Dark Dragon's art of filth control, Kong Shinmu and Ran Ran's injuries had already stabilized, and it didn't even affect them much. Kong Shinmu activated the Dragon God Tyrant Body Art's defensive stance, which doubled his physical defense. This was an extremely terrifying level. Even a real Jade District student might not be able to kill him, let alone these 2 students from the Fecta district. Even though they were the strongest in the Fecta district, they were still far from being able to kill Kong Shinmu. Attack mode. Then, Kong Shinmu changed his posture. The aura of the divine dragon body burst out from his body. The great wilderness demon rinsing sword and the shadow dragon sky roaring break attacked the infernal abyssal dragon directly above. Just now, the infernal abyssal dragon's power had indeed made Kong Shinmu feel threatened. If he hadn't activated the Dragon God Tyrant Body Technique's defensive stance, Kong Shinmu would have been heavily injured and lost the ability to fight. Although it was not enough to kill him, this trip to the Beast Abyss was probably the end. He had to return to recuperate. Therefore, at this moment, Kong Shinmu directly attacked the infernal abyssal dragon. The infernal abyssal dragon's eyes were filled with astonishment. She had never expected Kong Shinmu to possess such a violent battle strength. This defensive ability was actually able to withstand her hell-imprisoning power. Without much thought, the hellbound abyssal dragon's expression changed, and he immediately activated the South Emperor seal on his wrist. The South Emperor seal lit up, and the infernal abyssal dragon's body flickered with a white light. Then, he was about to be teleported back to the South Emperor Dragon Martial Arts Academy. Kong Shinmu, you're very strong. It would be great if I could join forces with you on the battlefield against the void beasts. The infernal abyssal dragon left these words and disappeared from the scene. Kong Shinmu was a little surprised that his attack hit empty air. He didn't expect the other party to run away just like that. It seemed like she felt that there was no need to stay here if she couldn't kill Kong Shinmu this time. As for what she said about joining forces with him on the battlefield against the void beasts, Kong Shinmu treated it as a joke. After all, she wanted to ambush and kill Kong Shinmu this time. Why would Kong Shinmu join forces with her? Let's go. Seeing this, the wild sand brilliant sword dragon didn't hesitate. The North Wilderness seal on his wrist shone with a white light and enveloped him. The young man from Donghuang Yangwu College, the wind attribute divine dragon, also retreated hurriedly and activated the East Emperor seal on his wrist. In the next moment, he disappeared from the scene. This group of people came and left quickly. Once they realized that they couldn't kill Kong Shinmu, they immediately slipped away. This made Kong Shinmu frown slightly. This group of people seems to know our location very well. I'm afraid they have some kind of treasure with them that's recording our location. They came to the Beast Abyss in advance and prepared. Xiao Yuhua and Liang Xiao said. Then, everyone looked at White Scorpion Qian Bing not far away. Is this Qian Bing with them? Ran was a little confused. No matter what, let's be careful. Liang Xiao said calmly. Why be so cautious? Kong Shinmu shook his head. Without thinking, he didn't remove his divine dragon form and directly flew towards White Scorpion Qian Bing in his black dragon form. Void Dragon Roaring Strike. Divine Dragon Body Technique, Strong Attack Stance. Great Wilderness Demon Rinsing Sword. Kong Shinmu directly exploded his strongest attack towards White Scorpion Qian Bing, who seemed to be unconscious on the ground. If Qian Bing was really killed by him, it would be equivalent to eliminating an opponent for Kong Shinmu. Anyway, it was impossible for Kong Shinmu to save Qian Bing. In this way, he could also see if Qian Bing was with the group of people just now. When Kong Shinmu directly exploded his attack, Xiao Yuhua and the other three were a little surprised. They didn't expect Kong Shinmu to be so decisive. Immediately after, the White Scorpion Celestial Venomous Dragon body that was unconscious on the desert suddenly emitted a white light. That was the light of Emperor Shi's seal. Qian Bing was indeed pretending to be unconscious. In reality, she was very awake. When she felt Kong Shinmu's sweeping attack, she immediately activated Emperor Shi's seal and escaped without thinking. Soon, Kong Shinmu's attack landed on the desert and instantly blasted a deep pit. As for White Scorpion Celestial Venomous Dragon body, it had already disappeared. Obviously, it had returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. 4 people teamed up. They are students from the Fekta region of the 4 Dragon Martial Academies. Moreover, they are all rather powerful. Who would send them to kill me? Kong Shinmu deactivated his divine dragon form and narrowed his eyes. He thought to himself, first of all, it can't be Zhuo Xiaofan. After all, if Zhuo Xiaofan wanted to make a move, it would be impossible for him to get the students from the 4 Dragon Martial Academies to do it together. It would only be the students from Donghuang Yangwu College. Apart from Zhuo Xiaofan, I didn't offend anyone. Could it be the new students from Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy? Kang Xinmu thought to himself. Young Master Gu and young Master Liang coveted Ran Ran and wanted to get their hands on Ran Ran. If that was the case, they would have some motive to kill Kang Xinmu. However, this speculation was a little far-fetched and couldn't be used as evidence. Chapter 44-50. White Scorpion Xianbing was furious when she returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy. She did not expect that 3 top students from the Tianji zone to gang up on Kang Xinmu would not be able to do anything to Kang Xinmu. They did not even manage to kill Kang Xinmu. They did not even manage to seriously injure him. This made her extremely depressed. Moreover, she had pretended to be unconscious in the scorching desert. As a fellow student of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy, Kang Xinmu should have observed her, right? No matter what, he should not have attacked her directly. She did not expect that Kang Xinmu would attack her without saying anything. She was so frightened that she immediately returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy. The 3 of them couldn't do anything to Kang Xinmu even after ganging up on him. She would not be a match for Kang Xinmu if she was left alone. As for an explanation, Kang Xinmu did not seem like someone who would listen to her. The failure of the entire operation made White Scorpion Xianbing look gloomy and depressed. She immediately sent a message to 9th young Master Gu and returned to her residence. She was now a student of the Tianji zone. She could only go to the Beast Abyss or take the initiative to go to the Void Chasm to fight against the Void Beasts. Unfortunately, she would not go face the real danger when it was not necessary. As for the Beast Abyss, she could only enter once a month. She had just come out of the Beast Abyss and naturally could not go in. Therefore, she could only cultivate in seclusion and absorb the energy of the Dragon Mark. However, with her current level 1 Divine Dragon Blood Essence, it was not easy to absorb the energy of the Dragon Mark to reach level 2 of the Dragon Emperor. On one hand, she did not know if there was a bottleneck. On the other hand, the advancement of the Divine Dragon Blood Essence at the Dragon Emperor level required a lot of Dragon Mark energy. It was not something that could be completely absorbed in a short period of time. Even with the speed at which Kang Xinmu absorbed the Dragon Mark energy, it would take at least a few months. White Scorpion Xianbing's speed of absorbing the Dragon Mark energy was probably only 1/10 of Kang Xinmu's. Xianbing would reach Dragon Emperor level this year. It was still too early for her to reach level 2 of the Dragon Emperor level. As for what Xianbing was doing, Kang Xinmu was too lazy to care. After chasing White Scorpion Xianbing out of the Beast Abyss, he continued to lead Xiao Yuhua and the others forward in the scorching desert, planning to find stronger beasts to kill. First of all, sandworms were very difficult to kill because there were too many sandworm demon emperors living in the scorching desert. If one could not kill them in one strike, it was very likely that one would have to face a large group of sandworm demon emperors. Previously, they had almost reached their limit when they were able to instantly kill the demon emperor sandworm, which was at the 3rd level of the Samsara Tribulation realm. It would be almost impossible to kill a demon emperor sandworm at the 4th level of the Reincarnation Tribulation realm. Moreover, the demon emperor sandworm at the 3rd level of the Reincarnation Tribulation realm was in the middle of eating. It had swallowed 2 insect demonic beasts at the Demon King realm, so it was at its weakest. Under normal circumstances, Kang Xinmu and the others might not be able to kill him instantly. However, it would be troublesome if he couldn't kill the sandworms instantly. Either his efforts would be in vain, or he would have to face a group of sandworm demon emperors. Kang Xinmu was not willing to face such a situation. Therefore, he was more willing to find other types of demon emperors to deal with. It would be much easier that way. Although the 5 of them had a lot of people, each of them only had inherited blood essence at the level of the Dragon King. It was easy to distinguish them from their body shapes. Therefore, under such circumstances, they had an advantage in entering the Beast Abyss compared to the other students from the Fecta zone. This was because the demonic beasts in the Beast Abyss were basically imprisoned for committing crimes outside, so they had a natural hatred for dragon martial artists. As long as a dragon martial artist that they could kill appeared, they would definitely find a way to kill him. Unlike the other Fecta Zone dragon martial artists who appeared in the scorching desert, the demonic beasts would definitely think twice upon seeing that it was the Dragon Emperor. They would not attack him directly. But now, as Kang Shinmu and the others headed deeper into the scorching desert, 2 Demon Emperor Sand Scorpions flew out of the ground not long after. They carried a terrifying poisonous force and swept towards the 5 of them. They saw that Kang Shinmu and the others were all demon kings, and most of them were only at the Nirvana Tribulation realm. They looked too easy to bully, so they naturally wouldn't miss out on such a rare delicacy. To the demonic beasts in the scorching desert, they basically ate some insects on a daily basis. To them, dragon martial artists were the most nourishing tonic. Not only did they taste fresh, but the divine dragon blood essence of dragon martial artists could also improve the grade of their demonic beast bloodline. Therefore, seeing that the 5 weaklings dragon martial artists who were at the level of the Dragon King had come to the scorching desert, how could they not make a move? If they didn't make a move now, they would soon be snatched by other demon emperors. The 2 Demon Emperor Sand Scorpions flew out quickly. The boundless power of poison almost covered the sky and swept toward the crowd like a sandstorm. These 2 Demon Emperor Sand Scorpions were at the 3rd tier of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. You guys kill the one on the left first. I'll block the one on the right. Kang Shinmu made a prompt decision and immediately rushed towards the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion on the right. He directly released the Dragon God Tyrant Body technique and covered his body with the power of the Dragon God Tyrant Body technique, making him look like a pitch-black steel wall. His black dragon body crashed into the black poisonous cloud of the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion and directly broke through it. Then, he landed on the huge body of the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion. The Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion was huge. Even if the tail of the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion was more than 1,000 feet long, it was still more than 5,000 feet long. It looked a little smaller than the body of a divine dragon at the level of the Dragon Emperor, but not by much. Instead, its body was pitch black with mysterious and eerie patterns, giving people an extremely sinister feeling. When Kang Shinmu's divine dragon body collided with the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion, it directly knocked the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion back thousands of feet. However, the power that the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion burst out did not hurt Kang Shinmu at all. The power of the poison attribute was not a threat to Kang Shinmu at the moment, and the physical strength of the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion was even less likely to hurt him. Unfortunately, it was not so easy for Kang Shinmu to kill this Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion. His attack methods were still too weak. He still had to rely on Xiao Yuhua and the other 3. It was also at this moment that Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 had already joined forces to attack. Each of them immediately burst out their strongest attack. There were 2 Demon Emperor Sand Scorpions. They had to kill one of them as soon as possible and then help Kang Shinmu. The main thing was that if they did not kill one of them, they would not be able to resist the attack of the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion. Even if they all burst out their strongest defense methods, they would probably be poisoned immediately. Although they would not die, it would bring them a lot of trouble. Therefore, they decided to attack first and burst out their strongest attack. Fortunately, they were always prepared. When the 2 Demon Emperor Sand Scorpions appeared, they subconsciously began to attack the dragon martial skill. Kill. Chapter 44-51. The Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion had never expected that the seemingly weak Dragon King dragon warriors in front of him could possess such terrifying power. Xiao Yuhua's Phoenix Dance of the Burning Sky was the first to land on the scorpion, burning up all the black poisonous gas around it. Then, she launched the sky-shattering Ice Slash, which, like an ice saber cutting through the sky, landed on the hard shell on the back of the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion. Although the hard shell on the back of the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion was extremely hard, it instantly became a little brittle under the sudden attack of ice and fire. Then came Liang Zhao's 9 heavenly dragon blood explosion, which smashed the hard shell on the back of the scorpion with a bloody smell. The last one was Ran Rant's attack. Her dark jade extreme breaker burst forth with a terrifying destructive power. Following that, the attacks of the other 3 blasted into the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion's body, causing it to explode. The Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion was seriously injured by the joint attack of the 4 before it could exert its most powerful attack. Since the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion did not take any defensive measures, it was naturally unable to resist the violent attacks of the 4. Just like the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion in the 3rd tier of the Samsara realm, it was seriously injured by their first attack. Then, the second attack came and completely killed it in the scorching desert. Go and help Kong Shinmu. Without any hesitation, Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 directly went to help Kong Shinmu. All kinds of terrifying power came crashing down, directly enveloping Kong Shinmu. After all, their attacks had no effect on Kong Shinmu. Now that Kong Shinmu had knocked away the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion, they were in the same position, and there was no way for them to avoid Kong Shinmu. Therefore, they simply bombarded Kong Shinmu together. Anyway, they could not kill Kong Shinmu. At this time, the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion realized that its companions had been killed. It immediately wanted to turn around and escape, but unfortunately, it was held back by Kong Shinmu's black dragon body. The tough dragon claws locked the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion like iron shackles, making it unable to escape. In the next moment, the bombardment of the 4 swept out like a storm of ice and fire, mixed with the power of the Dark Jade Extreme Breaker and the power of the 9 heavenly dragon blood explosion. The destructive power that erupted together directly killed the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion. After experiencing the trial of the Void Monsters, the 4 had greatly improved their skills. Originally, Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl could kill 6th-level demon kings or devil spirits with Jiang Shenwu. But now, they could fight against 3rd-level demon emperors or devil generals with their combined strength. That was because everyone, including Jiang Shenwu, had obtained an extremely large amount of cultivation resources after the trial. With the 5 of them working together, it was a piece of cake to deal with a 3rd demon emperor or demon general. The reward for killing a demon emperor was not as good as killing a demon general. Unfortunately, to kill a demon general, they had to go to the battlefield of the Void Crack, which was extremely dangerous. After all, a 3rd demon general was only a low-level demon general. In the battlefield of the Void Crack, such existences were considered relatively weak. If Kong Shinmu and the others went to the battlefield of the Void Crack, they were likely to encounter void monsters that were much stronger than them. The danger was much greater than in the Beast Abyss. In the Beast Abyss, there were demon emperors at most. Even if there were demon emperors in the 4th or 6th reincarnation realm, they would not be in danger. Most importantly, they could run away if they could not win in the Beast Abyss. In the battlefield of the Void Crack, if they could not win, they could not run away. The 2 Demon Emperor Sand Scorpions were killed by Kong Shinmu and the other 4 almost in an instant. Kong Shinmu mainly acted as a meat shield and stalled one of the scorpions. He mainly relied on the other 4 to kill the Demon Emperor Sand Scorpion. 2 demon cores of 3rd demon emperors. Not a bad harvest. Kong Shinmu was quite satisfied with the harvest this time. Let's continue forward. This is not our limit yet. Next, they continued to move deeper into the scorching desert. This was the first time the 5 of them worked together. They cooperated with each other more and more. Following that, they encountered several demon emperors in the 3rd realm. They worked together to kill them all without any accidents. After all, Kong Shinmu was there to stabilize the situation. Even if there were any accidents, he could stand up and block the attacks. After cultivating the Dragon God Tyrant Body technique, Jiang Shenwu's battle prowess was at least 2 to 3 times stronger than before. It could be said that in the Beast Abyss, unless a demon emperor at the 7th level of the Samsara realm or above appeared, it would be very difficult to pose a threat to Jiang Shenwu's life. As the 5 of them went deeper into the scorching desert, the smell of blood on them became stronger. Gradually, the demon emperors who dared to attack them became fewer and fewer. Moreover, they had not encountered a demon emperor at the 4th realm. What's going on? Could it be that there are no demon emperors at the 4th realm in the Beast Abyss? The 5 of them were a little surprised. Given the current situation, they had gained a lot from killing 3rd-tier Reincarnation Tribulation Realm demon emperors. However, most importantly, 3rd-tier Reincarnation Tribulation Realm demon emperors didn't dare to come out and cause trouble for them. Once they sensed their aura, they would take a detour. It was unknown whether there were circles among the demon beasts. They had heard in advance that 5 dragon martial artist students were hunting demon emperors. These demon emperors were naturally intelligent. They knew to avoid the strong and bully the weak. At first, Kang Xinmu and the others used their appearance to confuse many demon emperors. But soon, the demon emperors in the scorching desert did not fall for it and hid far away when they encountered them. As for Jiang Shenwu and the others, if they wanted to take the initiative to hunt for demonic sovereigns, it wouldn't be that easy. On the other hand, the terrain of the Raging Flame Desert was very complicated. Once they fell into the demonic beast's traps, even Jiang Shenwu didn't have absolute confidence in escaping. If that was the case, their trip to the Beast Abyss would be over. The aura of demon beast blood on us is too strong. We must think of a way to solve it. After a day, Liang Xiao finally could not help but say, "We have already obtained 11 demon emperor cores in the scorching desert, all from the 1st to the 3rd realm of the reincarnation realm. 7 of them are demon emperors at the 3rd realm. This is already a good harvest." Xiao Yuhua frowned and said, "Why don't we go back first? This harvest is not enough." Kang Xinmu shook his head. He did some calculations. If he wanted to advance from the 6th realm of the Dragon King to the 7th realm of the Dragon King, he needed a lot of natural treasures that contained the energy of the Dragon Mark. He could only get a third of this harvest. It was still not enough to exchange for enough natural treasures. Let's go to the Nether Sea. Chapter 44-52. And even if we encounter danger, we can leave the Beast Abyss directly. There's no need to worry too much. The Netherworld Sea can also wash away the stench of blood on our bodies, and we can go to other regions to hunt demon emperors. Kang Xinmu's words made the other 4's eyes light up. That was true. Even if the Netherworld Sea was too dangerous, they could still go over and wash away the stench of blood on their bodies, then go to other regions to hunt demon emperors. Even if there was no chance to hunt demon emperors in the Raging Flame Desert, there would be no problem in other regions. Therefore, everyone agreed with Kang Xinmu's suggestion. They turned around and flew towards the periphery of the Raging Flame Desert, but not at a fast speed. It could be considered a break. They flew above the clouds, and when they looked up, they could see the starry sky above them. They didn't know where the Beast Abyss was. Was it really outside the Dragon Continent? Kang Xinmu didn't think too much about it. In any case, as his strength increased, he would find out sooner or later. And everything about the Black Dragon consciousness in his body, I don't know why there aren't even any demon emperors in the Raging Flame Desert. Kang Xinmu still felt it was a pity. He remembered that in places like the Raging Flame Desert and the towering ancient forest, 4th-tier demon emperors still existed. Not only that, there were even stronger demon emperors. But now, there wasn't even a trace of them left, as if they had disappeared from the Beast Abyss. About 4 hours later, they returned to the ancient Netherworld Sea Road. Behind them was the Raging Flame Desert, and in front of them was the netherworld sea. The clouds above them also formed a clear boundary above the ancient netherworld sea road. The clouds above the raging flame desert were illuminated by the sun, and under the scorching sunlight, there was an incomparably hot temperature. But above the netherworld sea were dark clouds. Within the dark clouds, lightning flashed, as if a violent storm was coming. The entire sky above the netherworld sea was dusky, and it was difficult to see anything clearly. Only when the lightning flashed could they see the surging waves and tides. In the netherworld sea, there seemed to be countless terrifying and powerful demon beasts. Faint roars of deep-sea whales could be heard from the depths of the netherworld sea. This is the netherworld sea. Kang Xinmu and the other four carefully looked at the netherworld sea, and their hearts were still somewhat anxious. Fortunately, the ocean was not a forbidden zone for dragon warriors. Many dragon warriors could even swim in the ocean and live in it for a long time. It was said that the divine dragon was originally a creature of the sea. It was just that Xiao Yuhua would feel a bit uncomfortable. Her fire attribute energy would definitely be suppressed in the netherworld ocean. If it was just an ordinary ocean, it would not be able to suppress the power of a dragon martial artist. However, the seawater of the netherworld sea was said to be different from ordinary seawater. It was the water of the heavy sea. The demonic beasts that could survive in it were not easy to deal with. If we encounter a level 3 demon monarch in the nether sea, I'm afraid it will be the same as dealing with a level 4 demon monarch in the scorching desert. If I encounter a 4th level deep sea demon emperor, it's very likely that I'll encounter a 5th level demon emperor outside. Everyone understood this very well. However, their first goal was not to go to the netherworld sea to kill demon emperors. Instead, they had to wash off the bloody aura of demon beasts on their bodies. They had killed too many demon beasts. Under the scorching sun of the scorching desert, the bloodstains had dried up. However, they still emitted a dangerous aura that made people's hearts palpitate. The main reason was that after sensing this aura, those demon emperors would definitely not be willing to go near them, let alone attack them. Obviously, from the aura of these 5 people, they were not to be trifled with. Even if most of them were just dragon kings, it was the same. In history, the Dragon King had killed Dragon Emperor, and this was not a rare sight in the Beast Abyss. Let's go down. Kang Xinmu observed the situation of the netherworld sea for a while. He did not find any obvious danger, so he nodded and took the lead to fly down. The ancient netherworld sea path was close to the netherworld sea. Sometimes, there was a long cliff. At this moment, Kang Xinmu and the rest were on top of the cliff. The netherworld sea's seawater slapped heavily against the cliff, giving off a magnificent feeling of the waves beating against the shore. Kang Xinmu flew down the cliff and rushed into the netherworld sea. Darkness and coldness surrounded him in an instant. His divine dragon eyes were immediately immersed in the seawater, and for a moment, he could not see clearly what was in the seawater. At this moment, he could only rely on his perception to feel everything around him. Fortunately, this was the shore, and there was no danger. When he gradually adapted to the light in the netherworld sea, he could still see some shadows around him. There were countless jagged rocks at the bottom of the sea, and they were piled up into strange underwater hills. Not a single blade of grass grew at the bottom of the sea, and there was no sign of life as far as the eye could see. Even the strange rocks and hills looked terrifying in the seawater, as if no one had touched these strange rocks and hills for countless years. In the dim light, Kang Xinmu could barely see some shadows in the seawater. Immediately after, Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 also transformed into dragons and directly rushed into the netherworld sea. As the cold feeling permeated their bodies, the smell of blood on them was constantly being removed. The entire sea began to emit a bloody smell, which spread to the distant deep sea. There seems to be a sound. After a while, the red divine dragon formed by Xiao Yuhua stared in a direction. They had originally planned to first get close to the shore to wash away the smell of blood on their bodies, but at this moment, a strange sound came, and all 5 of them became alert. Kang Shinmu's perception was still the strongest. He looked in the direction of the strange sound, and suddenly saw a huge figure approaching them in the netherworld sea. In the darkness, the huge figure seemed to cover the sky, appearing at the edge of their vision, and approaching at an unimaginable speed. It's the deep-sea demon monarch. It should be the 6th tier of the rebirth tribulation realm. Kang Shinmu's expression changed slightly, and he was ready for battle. He would not directly plan to escape. Just by looking at the speed of the other party in the deep sea, he knew that it was impossible for them to escape. It would almost catch up with them in a single move. I'll stop it. You guys leave the surface of the sea and go to the ancient netherworld sea path first. Kang Shinmu made a prompt decision, and the Dragon God Tyrant body technique directly burst into a defensive state. He rushed out of the seawater, and directly swam towards the huge figure. That huge figure was more than 10,000 feet in size. As it got closer, Kang Shinmu realized that it was actually a terrifying strange fish the size of a small mountain. Its body was covered with tens of thousands of sharp teeth, and its head was very small, but there were at least thousands of pupils on its round head. What kind of demonic beast was this? Kang Shinmu had never seen it before. Chapter 44-53. Although Kang Shinmu had never seen such a terrifying monster fish before, he could clearly sense that it was a demon emperor at the 6th tier of the rebirth tribulation realm. Moreover, those with the bloodline of a demon emperor were basically only at the 1st tier of the demon emperor. It was rare to see a demon emperor at the 2nd tier. This limited the strength of a demon emperor. Kang Shinmu's body was surrounded by the power of the divine dragon tyrant body. He was like a small steel mountain as he charged straight at the terrifying monster fish demon emperor. Seeing this, the terrifying monster fish demon emperor let out a strange cry. An extremely sharp ice elemental power erupted from its body and swept towards Kang Shinmu like a storm. The ice elemental power condensed into icicles at the bottom of the sea, causing chaos in the nearby sea. These icicles seemed to have condensed into an iceberg with countless icicles and instantly bombarded Kang Shinmu's divine dragon body. With a loud bang, Kang Shinmu felt like his entire divine dragon body was being torn apart. Countless divine dragon blood flowed out of his body, and the dragon scales all over his body suffered a near-fatal blow. The terrifying monster fish demon emperor only needed one attack to seriously injure Kang Shinmu. However, because Kang Shinmu rushed up to block the monster fish for a moment, Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 had already flown above the netherworld sea. They left this sea region and soared above the ancient netherworld sea path. Immediately after, Kang Shinmu followed the monster fish's attack and retreated rapidly. With a roar, he flew towards the surface of the sea. It was too disadvantageous to fight such a terrifying monster fish at the bottom of the sea. Kang Shinmu didn't know if that move was the monster fish's strongest move. If it wasn't, then Kang Shinmu's life might be in danger if he continued to tangle with the monster fish at the bottom of the sea. Therefore, he followed the monster's attack and was pushed back by the monster fish's power. He flew out of the netherworld sea in one fell swoop. Moreover, the devouring power in his body immediately fused with the power of the dragon-marked blood pendant. The blood-red devouring power began to devour the ice elemental energy that came from the strange fish on his body. This ice-attributed energy was incomparably cold and gloomy. The chill even seeped into Kang Shinmu's body, causing the energy within Kang Shinmu's body to almost be completely frozen. Fortunately, the devouring power surged out, allowing him to devour all of the strange fish's cold energy into his body. Not only could he use this part of the power, but it also strengthened his resistance against cold attribute power. Originally, Kang Shinmu had been hunting demon sovereigns in the fiery desert and had never met an opponent with the ice element. Therefore, his resistance to the ice element was not very strong. However, now that he had devoured the strange fish's power, his resistance to ice attribute powers had risen to a whole new level. If he had been hit by the strange fish's attack just now, he might not have died. Of course, now that he was seriously injured, he could not recover quickly just by relying on the dark dragon's inferiority spell. Therefore, he could only devour a demon core that he had originally stored to recover from his injuries. Even with the recovery of the devouring power, he could not completely recover in an instant. Therefore, the current Kong Shinmu could be said to be in a more dangerous situation. Immediately after, everyone saw a huge wave rise on the surface of the Netherworld Sea. Then, a huge figure flew out of the Netherworld Sea. It was that terrifying strange fish. The terrifying strange fish appeared and flew straight towards Kong Shinmu, who had not flown far away. Countless ice cones exploded from the Netherworld Sea and formed several ice spikes at the same time, sweeping towards Kong Shinmu. The ice spikes locked onto Kong Shinmu. The terrifying ice aura reached him in the blink of an eye and was about to engulf him. If he were to suffer the attacks of these ice spikes at the same time, even if he had an extremely strong resistance to ice attribute powers, it would be impossible for him to survive. The terrifying strange fish was too strong, and its speed was too fast. It did not give Kong Shinmu the slightest time to prepare when it launched its attack. Sunset Shadow Streak. At this crucial moment, Jiang Shenwu finally activated the shadowy sunset flash that he had just recently practiced. Now, no movement technique could help him dodge his opponent's attack. Only the shadowy sunset flash could allow him to break through the void. It was a high-grade origin dragon martial technique that allowed him to instantly dodge his opponent's attack. The next moment, Kong Shinmu's black dragon body appeared in the air thousands of feet away. Immediately after, the ice spikes collided with each other and exploded. Endless ice storms swept out in all directions and directly rolled onto Kong Shinmu's body. Even though it was just the aftermath of this attack, it was difficult for Kong Shinmu to bear. His divine dragon body, which had not yet recovered, suffered even more injuries. Devour. Jiang Shenwu did not let go of this opportunity in the slightest, and completely engulfed the ice energy that was spreading out. Of course, he only devoured the ice storm power that flew towards him and did not care about the power from other directions. This was because he did not have the time to devour the ice storm power from other directions. The terrifying strange fish seemed to be very surprised that it could not kill Kong Shinmu. Therefore, it launched an attack on Kong Shinmu again. The ice power erupted from all directions around Kong Shinmu. The power of ice condensed into ice crystals that carried an incomparably sharp aura, decorating the entire space like it was a frozen tundra. Cold winds blew through the air. In the next moment, these ice crystals instantly enveloped Kong Shinmu. There were ice crystals in all directions, and the ice power's aura even froze Kong Shinmu's power. Devour. Jiang Shenwu activated his devouring power and barely managed to devour a portion of the power of those ice crystals, dissolving the frozen power within his body. Then, he once again erupted with the blade shadow flowing cloud flash, flashing towards a distance of 3 kilometers away. The ice crystals once again collided with each other, bursting out layers of ice storm ripples that swept out in all directions. Even Xiao Yuhua and the others, who were several tens of thousands of meters away, were blown away by the ice storm and could not fly steadily. And Kong Shinmu was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. Countless ice crystal storms covered the power of his divine dragon tyrant body, directly shattering the layer of his divine dragon tyrant body. Fortunately, Kong Shinmu had devoured a lot of ice attribute power, so his resistance to ice attribute power had reached a very strong level. The aftermath of the opponent's attack did not kill Kong Shinmu, but it made him even stronger. Roar! Seeing that Kong Shinmu was still alive, the terrifying strange fish that had already flown into the air roared. It no longer had the patience to play with Kong Shinmu. It seemed to be eager to swallow the black dragon in front of it as its food. In an instant, the temperature within a radius of 10,000 zhang plummeted. Almost in an instant, several layers of ice barriers enveloped Jiang Shenwu's entire body. Chapter 44-54. A total of 9 layers of ice barriers erupted from the body of the terrifying fish demon emperor and enveloped Kang Shenmu's entire black dragon body. This time, Kang Shenmu had nowhere to hide and could only take the attack head-on. Devour. Under the cover of the power of the Dragon Scar Blood Pendant, the devouring power surrounded the black dragon's entire body, as if turning the black dragon into a blood-red dragon. The devouring power covered by the blood-red color frantically devoured the surrounding ice barrier's power. This happened several times in a row, and finally, Kang Shenmu's resistance to ice attribute power reached the extreme. In the next moment, the 9 layers of ice barrier exploded in an instant. The boundless power of ice shattered like a collapsing planet. Then, it collapsed toward the black dragon, forming a ball of ice in midair. The ball of ice was extremely strong, and it shrank from tens of thousands of feet to only a few hundred feet, becoming an ice crystal ball that trapped the black dragon within. If it were any other dragon martial artist, they would have been buried by this 9 layers of ice barrier, and not even their corpses would have been left. This was a terrifying pressure that could completely squeeze the victim into the center of the ice ball. Unfortunately, the one being attacked by this 9 layers of ice barrier was Kang Shenmu. Buried and submerged by the 9 layers of ice barrier, Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 looked over in shock. They saw that Kang Shenmu's black dragon body was surrounded by layers of ice crystals, and the barrier was shrinking, squeezing him into the center of the ice ball. It looked as if Kang Shenmu's entire divine dragon body was buried inside. Such a scene was extremely worrying. No one knew how Kang Shenmu was doing now. The terrifying fish demon emperor from the depths of the netherworld sea did not think that Kang Shenmu had a chance of survival. Although it was surprised that Kang Shenmu's divine dragon body was still intact and had not been crushed into powder by the 9 layers of ice barrier, Kang Shenmu had withstood several of its attacks, after all. Such physical strength was considered normal. No matter what, the terrifying fish didn't think that Kang Shenmu could come back to life. As a result, the monstrous fish's gigantic figure brought with it countless ice crystals from the sky. It even attracted the boundless power of thunder and lightning from the dark clouds in the sky, which wrapped around the monstrous fish's body. With an earth-shattering might, a row of icicles and lightning spikes condensed in front of the monstrous fish demon emperor, sweeping towards Xiao Yuhua and the others hundreds of thousands of feet away. Dodge! Xiao Yuhua's expression changed slightly. She immediately shouted and retreated toward the ancient nether sea path. She glanced at Kang Shenmu, who was trapped in the center of the 9-layered ice crystal barrier. Although she was very worried about Kang Shenmu's current situation, it was clear that the few of them could not even protect themselves. He had to dodge this attack. The lightning fused with the ice crystals, and the endless icicles and lightning spikes actually broke through space in an instant. They swept over at an incomparably terrifying and unimaginable speed, bringing with them a flash of lightning that streaked across the sky. The monstrous fish wanted to kill Xiao Yuhua and the others in one fell swoop. After releasing the icicles and lightning spikes, its gigantic body, which was thousands of feet long, sped towards Xiao Yuhua and the others. Although the terrifying demon beasts in the depths of the Nether Sea would generally not leave the Nether Sea, given the current situation, this monstrous fish was very likely to think that Kang Shenmu and the others had trespassed into its territory. Hence, it was so angry that it wanted to kill them all, even if it had to leave the Nether Sea. Kang Shenmu did not know that much. At this moment, he was frozen in the center of the 9-layered ice barrier, and his entire body felt endless cold. Unfortunately, this cold did not cause him the slightest bit of harm. On the other hand, the collapse of the 9-layered frost barrier had caused him some tremor injuries. However, he did not die, nor did he lose consciousness. The top-notch ice attribute resistance made him practically immune to ice attribute attacks. Just as the monstrous fish launched its attack towards Xiao Yuhua and the others, layer upon layer of ice barrier suddenly appeared in the sky, actually enveloping a portion of the space around the monstrous fish's body. 9-layered ice barrier. This time, Kang Xinmu discovered a wonderful use of the devouring power. As long as it was a power of the same origin, he could devour it and convert it. For example, right now, Kang Xinmu had devoured countless ice attribute powers from the monstrous fish demon emperor. These elemental powers could be used by Kang Xinmu for his own use. However, if he released them in their original form, they would only have half the power of the monstrous fish's attack. But now, Kang Xinmu had released the complete 9-layered ice barrier, and this time, the power of the ice barrier that Kang Xinmu released was even greater than the monstrous fish demon emperor's own attack. All the powers that Kang Xinmu had devoured in the previous battle had been gathered and condensed into this 9-layered ice barrier. The monstrous fish clearly did not expect this. The icicles and lightning spikes it released towards Xiao Yuhua and the others were all blocked by the 9-layered ice barrier. Before the others could react, the 9-layered ice barrier actually let out a rumbling sound in the next instant, and in the next instant, it collapsed towards the monstrous fish demon emperor. The strongest explosive power of the 9-layered ice barrier was collapse. Kang Xinmu was frozen in the center of the 9-layered ice barrier when it collapsed. At this moment, he also displayed this move, and used the ice attribute powers that he had devoured to directly bombard the monstrous fish demon emperor. Kang Xinmu had only endured half of the 9-layered ice barrier's power, and the other half had been devoured immediately. The monstrous fish demon emperor, on the other hand, had endured half of the power of the attack it had just unleashed, which had already surpassed its complete 9-layered ice barrier. In other words, at this moment, the strength of the collapse of the ice barrier that the monstrous fish demon emperor had endured was 2 or 3 times more than what Kang Xinmu had endured. The monstrous fish demon emperor had not expected such a situation at all. It was only stunned for a moment before the 9-layered ice barrier around its huge body collapsed in an instant. The endless power of ice came crashing down, and it was as if 10,000 avalanches had occurred at the same time. The monstrous fish demon emperor had originally wanted to kill Xiao Yuhua and the others, but it did not expect that Kang Xinmu, who had been frozen by the 9-layered ice barrier, would be able to unleash such power and use its own method to deal with it. The monstrous fish demon emperor had no power to resist at all. Its physical body was very strong, but in the face of the collapse of the 9-layered ice barrier, which was even more powerful than its strongest attack, it had no room to resist. Chapter 44-55. The terrifying demon emperor never expected that there would be a dragon martial artist that possessed such a technique. The most unexpected thing was that a mere dragon king at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm actually possessed such a terrifying strength. Before it died, it had sensed that this 9-layered ice boundary had been released by the black dragon it had trapped. This was most likely a type of innate ability to counterattack. However, the demon emperor had never seen such a tyrannical counterattack inherent skill that could actually counterattack an attack of its level. After all, it was a demon emperor at the 6th level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. Wasn't this black dragon too heaven-defying? Where did it come from? Unfortunately, the terrifying demon emperor fish's body was completely crushed by the 9-layered ice barrier and it lost all of its consciousness. No matter how confused it was, no one would answer its questions. A demon emperor at the 6th level of the Rebirth Tribulation realm. It was actually killed by Kang Xinmu himself? Everyone present felt that it was a little unbelievable. Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 widened their eyes. They had never expected such an outcome. Originally, they had planned to escape from this place and temporarily avoid being hit by the terrifying fish's icicles and lightning spikes. However, They had never expected that Kong Shinmu would actually envelop the icicles and lightning spikes along with the terrifying fish's huge body into the 9-layered ice barrier and shatter them all together. Wasn't Kong Shinmu's technique too terrifying? Even the legendary counterattack inherent skill couldn't do it to such an extent. After all, although the counterattack inherent skill could use the opponent's strength to counterattack, there was still a limit to it. For example, a Dragon King at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm like Kong Shinmu should have been unable to withstand the terrifying fish's attack and counterattack it. The difference between their levels was too great. Everyone realized that Kong Shinmu's technique was definitely not some counterattack inherent skill, but a kind of inherent skill that was even more heaven-defying than the counterattack inherent skill. A special devouring power? Xiao Yuhua thought to herself, but she couldn't be sure. Among the 4 of them, Ran was the only one who understood Kong Shinmu's power the most. However, she naturally couldn't say it out loud. This was Kong Shinmu's own secret. Even Xiao Yuhua and the white-dressed girl wouldn't want to ask about it. In any case, they were comrades fighting together with Kong Shinmu. This guarantee was enough. Anyway, if they acted together with Kong Shinmu, there would only be benefits. Brother Jiang, are you okay? Ran watched as the terrifying fish was directly buried in the ice mountain formed by the 9 layers frost boundary, and without the slightest hesitation, she flew towards Kong Shinmu who was in the air. At this moment, the ice mountain around Kong Shinmu was finally broken by him. It shattered into pieces of ice crystals and fell into the netherworld sea below. Kong Shinmu's black dragon body regained its freedom. When he saw Ran flying over, he also removed his divine dragon form. He smiled and said, "I'm fine." Fortunately, this strange fish demon emperor didn't use the 9 layers frost boundary right from the start. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have been able to kill it. Generally speaking, one could only rely on the first strike to kill Kong Shinmu. If one couldn't kill Kong Shinmu with the first strike, it would become more and more difficult to kill Kong Shinmu later on. Therefore, Kong Shinmu's previous speculation that he could deal with a demon emperor in the 5th tier of the rebirth tribulation state was a more reliable statement. If this terrifying demon emperor in the 6th tier of the rebirth tribulation state underestimated him, he still had a chance to kill it instead. Moreover, he had single-handedly killed it. Who asked this strange fish demon beast to be so strong in attack? Kong Shinmu could directly devour the opponent's attack and then counterattack. He could kill it directly with one move. But then again, if the attack was not strong enough, it would not be able to pose a threat to Kong Shinmu. With Kong Shinmu restraining the other party, Xiao Yuhua and the others would attack together. Sooner or later, they would exhaust the other party to death. It could be said that Kong Shinmu's team basically had no weaknesses. With Kong Shinmu's defense, they were absolutely safe. With Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 to complement their attack, they could be considered a rather terrifying team. The demon core of this demon emperor in the 6th tier of the rebirth tribulation state can be exchanged for a lot of experience points. Brother Jiang, this demon core belongs to you. After all, we didn't do anything in this battle. You killed it alone. Liang Xiao stepped forward and shattered the 9 layers frost boundary. Then, he took out the demon core of the strange fish and handed it to Kong Shinmu. No one had any objections to this. Kong Shinmu did not feel embarrassed. It was true that he had dealt with the strange fish alone from the beginning to the end, so he did not feel too pretentious. In any case, he did need these experience points. What should we do next? At this moment, Ran looked at the churning pitch-black nether sea below and felt a little uneasy. They had just entered the nether sea and already attracted such a terrifying demon emperor. It was hard to imagine what kind of existences there were in the depths of the nether sea. It was no wonder that in the history of the Dragon Martial Academy, very few people went to the nether sea. If one's combat power was not strong enough, going to the Nether Sea was really courting death. This time, although Kong Shinmu and the others looked too weak, the terrifying Demon Emperor followed the smell of blood and attacked them directly. However, even if the 4th or 5th tier of the Rebirth Tribulation State Dragon Emperor came over, the terrifying fish would still attack them. Looking stronger would only make some small fries retreat. A truly terrifying existence did not fear one's strength at all. We have washed away the smell of blood on us. Let's change direction and hunt other demonic beasts. Kong Shinmu thought for a while and made a decision. They could not go to the Nether Sea anymore. It was too dangerous, and if they were not careful, they might all die here. In this mission, Kong Shinmu obtained the Demon Emperor's demon core alone. It was a huge harvest, but the others did not have much. Therefore, Kong Shinmu did not want to go back so soon. Everyone agreed with Kong Shinmu's decision. Just as the 5 of them were about to follow the ancient Nether Sea path to the north, an incomparably huge figure of a divine dragon suddenly appeared in the sky. The figure of the divine dragon seemed to be reflected in the sky, and a pair of divine dragon eyes showed endless might. That is, a supreme divine dragon? The 5 of them were stunned by this scene. They felt the dense wind around them, and the clouds in the sky changed color. Regardless of whether it was the dark clouds or the white clouds, they were all blown into a whirlwind and quickly dispersed into the surroundings. As the figure of the divine dragon appeared, even the sunlight was slightly distorted. Why would a supreme divine dragon suddenly appear in the sky above the ancient Nether Sea path? Chapter 44-56. The appearance of the dragon made Kong Shinmu and the other 4 deactivate their divine dragon forms and bow respectfully to the dragon. The appearance of the divine dragon meant that it had something to say or instruct them. Jiang Shenwu had never seen the figure of this supreme divine dragon before. It should not be the supreme divine dragon represented by Emperor Dong or Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. It wasn't the Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy or the Blue Sky Calamity Dragon. Then, it could be the representative of the Northern Desolate Dragon Martial Academy or the South Emperor Dragon Martial Academy. That peerless dragon appeared in the clouds, and the wind and clouds changed color. A pair of divine dragon eyes looked directly at Kong Shinmu and the other 4. You guys actually killed the 6th tier Rebirth Tribulation State Nether Sea Demon Emperor. Your strength is commendable. This situation is beyond my expectations. I thought that after the students from the Dubhe and Tianxian districts went to the Void Crack battlefield, there wouldn't be any students who could kill a Demon Emperor above the 3rd tier Rebirth Tribulation State. In the end, all the demonic beasts in the Beast Abyss that are above the 3rd tier Rebirth Tribulation State have been sent away. Only the demonic beasts in the Nether Sea have not moved. Originally, I thought that there was no need to do anything. However, your actions have really surprised me. These words made Kong Shinmu and the other 4 understand something. No wonder they couldn't find a Demon Emperor above the 4th tier in the Flaming Desert. That was because the Divine Dragon thought that the students from the Dubhe and Tianxian districts were forced to go to the Void Crack battlefield. The students who came to the Beast Abyss to train definitely couldn't kill a Demon Emperor above the 3rd tier. After all, even the strongest in the Dubhe district could only fight to a draw with a Demon Emperor above the 3rd tier. If they were lucky, they could kill the Demon Emperor. But it was basically impossible for a Demon Emperor to be killed by a student from the Dubhe district. If they could do it, they must be at the level of the Tianxian district. Unfortunately, even the Divine Dragon didn't expect that a student from the Dubhe district from the Emperor Shi Dragon Martial Academy could single-handedly kill a Demon Emperor at the 6th tier of the Rebirth Tribulation State deep in the Nether Sea. This method was beyond the knowledge of ordinary people. Even the Supreme Dragon God would not have thought of it. However, although you are able to kill the 6th layer Demon Emperor of the Nether Ocean, it is still impossible for you to enter the Nether Ocean. Therefore, this exalted one will seal off the Netherworld Sea. I hope you can understand. The voice of the peerless dragon Shadow was like rolling thunder that descended from the sky. When Kang Shinmu and the others heard this, they immediately understood the current situation. In any case, they did not intend to enter the Netherworld Sea again. So what if it was sealed? Kang Shinmu asked, "May I ask, Senior, since the Netherworld Sea is closed, can I still exchange my monster core for experience points?" "Of course, that's possible." The Supreme Dragon Shadow replied with a smile. Then, without any movement, a beam of divine light descended from the sky and landed on the side of the ancient Underworld Sea Road. The entire Netherworld Sea was separated from the ancient Underworld Sea Road by this beam of divine light. Kang Shinmu and the others happened to be on the ancient Underworld Sea Road. When they looked at the Netherworld Sea again, they realized that everything in the Netherworld Sea had become a little blurry. Even the dark clouds and the surface of the sea could not be seen clearly. It was as if they were looking at flowers in the fog, or as if they were looking at a world in a mirror. The Netherworld Sea had been isolated. As for Kang Shinmu and the others, it seemed that they could only go to other areas to hunt demon emperors. "The five of you," the Supreme Dragon Shadow observed Kang Shinmu and the others, as if thinking about how to arrange for them. Very quickly, it came to a conclusion. "With your current strength, you will not be able to get any tests in the Beast Abyss. It will not be of any help to improve your fighting spirit. Why don't you go directly to the Void Crack battlefield? The Void Crack battlefield is where you should go. Now that the situation is urgent, you should also do your part for the Dragon Martial Continent." Hearing the Supreme Dragon Shadow's words, Kang Shinmu felt like crying. He did not really want to go to the Void Crack battlefield before he had mastered the Wind Shadow Flowing Flash. In the end, he was actually caught by the Supreme Divine Dragon. This was too tragic. However, Kang Shinmu did not dare to disobey the Supreme Dragon Shadow's orders. After all, the Supreme Divine Dragon was far above his level. Not to mention others, even if the Dean of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy, Yu Yaji, wanted Kang Shinmu to go directly to the Void Crack battlefield, Kang Shinmu would obey. Not to mention the Supreme Divine Dragon's level. "Of course, I can see that the dragon martial technique that you have cultivated is a little special. If you encounter danger, I am afraid that you will not even be able to escape," the Supreme Dragon Shadow chuckled and said in a thunderous voice, "Since I forced you to go, I will give each of you a protective talisman. It can protect your life when you are in danger. If the five of you keep moving together, you will have 5 chances to save your lives. That should be enough for you." The Supreme Divine Dragon's words made Kang Shinmu and the others overjoyed. One must know that the reason why they did not go to the Void Crack battlefield to hunt the Void Beasts was because they felt that they were not prepared. Hunting the Void Beasts would be extremely dangerous. But now, this Supreme Godly Dragon actually said that he would give each of them a life-saving treasure. This would completely eliminate their worries. Most importantly, the experience points obtained by hunting the Void Beasts in the Void Crack battlefield were definitely more than the experience points obtained in the Beast Abyss. The experience points obtained by hunting the Void Beasts of the same level were at least more than half of the experience points obtained by hunting the demonic beasts. With the guarantee of safety, Kang Shinmu was naturally more willing to go to the Void Crack battlefield to hunt the Void Beasts. The situation in the Void Crack battlefield is much more dangerous than the Beast Abyss. The 5 of us, of course, have to move together. Kang Shinmu said with certainty. That's right. Immediately after, 5 sparkling little stars appeared under the unparalleled dragon shadow and fell towards the 5 of them. The 5 sparkling little stars quickly tore through the sky and appeared in front of Kang Shinmu and the others. They realized that the 5 little stars were actually 5 small crystals that seemed to be stained with the aura of the Supreme Divine Dragon. Before they could take a good look at the 5 crystals and feel the power within them, the 5 small crystals suddenly accelerated and directly crashed into the 5 of their heads. There was no strange feeling of being touched. They only felt as if some kind of power had entered their heads, but they could not sense its existence no matter how hard they tried. These 5 little crystals are protective crystals condensed by this noble Lord's supreme mystical dragon power. As long as you are in danger, the protective crystals will shatter and the power will spread to protect you. As long as it is not a supreme level power, it will definitely not be able to hurt you. Chapter 44-57. The protective crystal sounded like a good item. The key was that it contained the power of the supreme divine dragon, which could protect its owner. This made Kong Shinmu feel relieved. The supreme divine dragon wouldn't lie to them, right? Moreover, according to the supreme dragon Shadow's explanation, each of them had a protective crystal that could protect them once. It seemed to be a large-scale protection. As long as the 5 of them stayed together, they would be protected by the protective crystal and wouldn't be invaded by external forces. In this way, each of them had 5 lives, which added up to 25 lives. This was simply too awesome. Without a doubt, the Supreme Dragon Shadow saw that Kong Shinmu and the others were quite talented and felt that it would be a pity for them to die in the Void Crack battlefield, so he gave them the protective crystals. After all, with his cultivation at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm and the grade of the Dragon King's blood essence, he was able to defeat a 6th level Demon Emperor at the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm. This battle record was simply earth-shattering. If Kong Shinmu grew up, it would definitely be a great blessing for the Dragon Martial Continent. And for the void demonic creatures in the Void Crack, it would undoubtedly be a disaster. Therefore, after seeing Kong Shinmu defeat the Demon Emperor, the Supreme Dragon Shadow appreciated his talent and gave him 5 protective crystals to protect Kong Shinmu and the others. And letting them go to the Void Crack battlefield was also for their growth. Think about it, the strongest in the Beast Abyss was only a 3rd level Demon Emperor, which was of no use to them at all. In other words, it was simply impossible for Kong Shinmu to practice the Wind Shadow Flowing Cloud Flash here, because there was no opponent that could force him to use the evading dragon martial technique. If he wanted to become stronger in a faster time, there was no doubt that he had to fight evenly with an opponent that was on par with him. Otherwise, it would be difficult to have any effect. The Void Crack battlefield was such a suitable place for Kong Shinmu to train. Thank you, Senior. Let's go back and rest for a while, then prepare to head to the Void Crack battlefield. Kong Shinmu said respectfully to the Supreme Dragon Shadow. Not bad. Along with this satisfied praise, the Supreme Dragon Shadow also gradually dissipated from the sky above, as if it had never appeared. That Supreme Dragon Shadow wasn't the true body of the Supreme Divine Dragon. It was just a projection. However, even though it was just a projection, it still contained an incomparably tyrannical power. It was an unparalleled level of power, and it could even directly seal the space at the edge of the Netherworld Sea. From this, one could see how powerful the unparalleled Divine Dragon was. Not to mention that Kong Shinmu was only a Dragon King. Even if he was at the level of the Dragon Emperor, he was still too far away from the Supreme Divine Dragon. Even the Super Shinran was much stronger than the Dragon Emperor. After the Supreme Dragon Shadow disappeared, Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 heaved a sigh of relief. They had faced too much pressure just now. Kong Shinmu, it's not easy for you to speak just now. There was a complicated look in Xiao Yuhua's eyes. In the situation just now, she didn't even dare to breathe, let alone speak. However, Kong Shinmu was able to communicate with the Supreme Dragon Shadow without any hindrance, which made her admire him. Unbeknownst to her, although the Supreme Dragon Shadow's aura was powerful, Kong Shinmu had seen even more powerful ones, and not just one kind. Back in the Sealing Dragon Abyss, the fatal threat he felt was even more terrifying than the aura of the Supreme Divine Dragon. And when the Black Dragon consciousness in his body erupted with full force, it was also no weaker than the aura of the Supreme Divine Dragon. The fact that Kang Shinmu could speak just now could only mean that his past experiences were richer and more tortuous than others. It couldn't be seen how strong his spiritual will was. Kang Shinmu sighed. This is nothing. After facing the Supreme Divine Dragon a few more times in the future, I'll get used to it. You speak as if you've seen the Supreme Divine Dragon many times. The girl in the white dress laughed softly. Kang Shinmu didn't say anything. It was true that he hadn't seen the Supreme Divine Dragon many times, but the other existences he had seen were probably more powerful than the Supreme Divine Dragon. After the Supreme Dragon's shadow disappeared, Kang Shinmu and the other four didn't stay in the Beast Abyss for long. They directly returned to Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy with their spoils of war. Translator, WQL Editor, Alim. In the Exchange Center of Experience Points, Jiang Shenwu took out a terrifying monster core of a strange fish monster emperor, which made the instructor dumbfounded. This is the demon core of a demon emperor at the 6th level of the rebirth tribulation state. Mentor Dragon Emperor exclaimed, attracting the attention of many people around. After all, Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy had expanded a lot, and the number of students had doubled. It was still in a period of rapid development, so there were naturally many students at the Experience Points Exchange office. Hearing Mentor Dragon Emperor's exclamation, many people looked over in surprise. When they saw that it was Kang Shinmu, they couldn't help but whisper. Now, the students at the Experience Points Exchange office were basically students from the Fekta zone and below. There wouldn't be students from the Dubhe zone or the Merak zone. It was said that the points obtained from killing void demons weren't called experience points, but demon hunting points. The demon hunting points didn't need to be exchanged at the Dragon Martial Academy. Instead, they could be exchanged for the cultivation resources they needed at the Dragon Martial Academy's base in the Void Crack battlefield. Therefore, which student in Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy could fight against a demon emperor at the 6th level of the rebirth tribulation state? Even if all the students at the Experience Points Exchange office joined forces, they would still be killed in an instant. Hearing that Kang Shinmu had obtained such a high-level demon emperor's demon core, everyone was so shocked that they couldn't close their mouths. Among the crowd, there were two girls who were on good terms with White Scorpion Qianbing. When they heard this, they immediately left secretly to tell White Scorpion Qianbing the news. Kang Shinmu's team could kill a powerful demon emperor at the 6th level of the rebirth tribulation state. It was better not to provoke him anymore. Otherwise, they might not even know how they died. In fact, that was the case. This time, Kang Shinmu was assassinated by White Scorpion Qianbing and her team in the Beast Abyss. They still had a chance to escape. If they met on the Void Crack battlefield, if Kang Shinmu wanted to kill them instead, they could forget about escaping. Their lives would be forfeit. Therefore, the two girls were worried that White Scorpion Qianbing didn't know about Kang Shinmu's strength, so they ran over to tell her the news. A person who could kill a demon emperor at the 6th level of the rebirth tribulation state was already a powerful existence in the Merak zone. He might even be able to enter the Fekta zone. A mere White Scorpion Qianbing wouldn't be a match for Kang Shinmu even if she cultivated for another 3 to 5 years. It was better to give up on making an enemy out of Kang Shinmu. Kang Shinmu. Suddenly, Mentor Dragon Emperor seemed to have received some news. He smiled bitterly at Kang Shinmu and said, "The Dean just sent me a message. He said that all your gains from the Beast Abyss have been exchanged for demon hunting points. You can only receive and exchange them at the Void Crack battlefield." Hearing this news, Kang Shinmu was a little dumbfounded. Chapter 44-58. That unparalleled divine dragon had even calculated all of this. Kang Shinmu originally wanted to first digest the experience points he had obtained this time and convert them into his own strength before heading to the Void Rift battlefield. But the Supreme Dragon God did not seem to give him the chance and directly arranged for Kong Shinmu to convert all the experience points he had obtained this time into demon hunting points, so that he could head to the Void Rift battlefield to collect them. Not only Kong Shinmu, but Xiao Yuhua, Ran Ran and the other two seemed to be the same. If that's the case, then there's no other way. Kong Shinmu sighed. It seemed like he could only make a trip to the Void Rift battlefield first. Since the Supreme Dragon God had already made such arrangements, it was impossible for him not to go. I heard that demon hunting points can be exchanged for some things that can't be exchanged in the academy. I wonder what it is. Liang Xiao looked a little eager, but he quickly sighed. Unfortunately, with my demon hunting points, even if there's something good, I won't be able to exchange for it. But Brother Jiang, you can look forward to it. Who knows, maybe there's something good in the Demon Hunter battlefield that can be exchanged with demon hunting points. That's much more cost-effective than exchanging for experience points in the academy. That's right. Kong Shinmu listened and nodded. Demon hunting points were not easy to come by. They were points that could be obtained by killing void monsters in the Void Rift battlefield. They were much harder and more precious than experience points. There was actually no danger in obtaining experience points. But to obtain a large number of demon hunting points, it was very likely that they would encounter extremely serious dangers. In the Void Rift battlefield, the most dangerous thing is that in the area near the Void Rift, spatial power cannot be used. At this time, the Dragon Emperor at the Experience Point Exchange Office smiled at Kong Shinmu and said, "If you are in the Dragon Martial Continent, you can use Emperor Shi's seal to ask for help when you are in danger. But in the Void Rift battlefield, even if you spread the news of danger, the mentor will not be able to arrive in time." "Thank you for the reminder, mentor." Kong Shinmu nodded and said, "Then let's go to the Void Crack battlefield first." Kong Shinmu had already expected the situation that Mentor Dragon Emperor had mentioned. Otherwise, why would he say that in the Void Crack battlefield, encountering danger was really dangerous? If he could ask his mentor for help, Kong Shinmu would not be afraid of anyone. After all, his Emperor Shi's seal was personally left behind by Headmaster Yu Yaji. It could allow Yu Yaji to teleport here directly. Unfortunately, because it was close to the Void Crack battlefield, the spatial energy there was very chaotic. Even a powerful dragon warrior like Yu Yaji would not be able to use her spatial training in that kind of place, and carry out spatial travel. Once she forcefully used it, it was very likely that she would be exiled into the void, and would never be able to return. As for Kong Shinmu's Wind Shadow Flowing Cloud Flash, it didn't belong to this list, because it was only a short distance teleportation. Although it passed through space, the energy level wasn't high, so it wouldn't cause the collapse of space. But Emperor Shi's seal was different, the energy level was quite high, and once it was used, it could cause the collapse of space. In any case, Kong Shinmu and the others had the protective crystal given by the Supreme Dragon Shadow, which could protect them 5 times in the Void Crack battlefield. Of course, it might be 4 times. Kong Shinmu brought everyone out of the Experience Points Exchange Office and said to the 4 of them, "Before going to the Void Crack battlefield, let's try out the effects of the protective crystal first. This protective crystal should be a one-time use." Xiao Yuhua was a little worried. "If we want to try it, isn't it a little too wasteful?" "I don't think so." The girl in the white dress calmly analyzed, "Kong Shinmu is right, we should try it. Although the Supreme Dragon Shadow said that this protective crystal can protect us once, we don't know what effect it has, and we don't know what form it takes. Anyway, we have a total of 5, why don't we test it first and see what the situation is? There are a total of 5 chances to save our lives. Even if we lose one, it's still better than being flustered the first time we encounter danger and getting wiped out." The girl in the white dress's view was the same as Kong Shinmu's. Anyway, they had a total of 5 life-saving chances. If this life-saving chance was certain to be effective, then it didn't matter even if there was one less life-saving chance. Anyway, Kang Xinmu felt that they shouldn't be so unlucky as to encounter danger 5 times in a row in the void crack battlefield. As long as it didn't exceed 5 life-threatening situations, these protective crystals were completely enough. That's true, then I have no objections. Xiao Yuhua thought about it and nodded. She also felt that they wouldn't be so unlucky to encounter danger 5 times in a row. It couldn't be like what the girl in the white dress said: if they got flustered the first time they encountered danger and made a mistake, then they would all be finished. After all, they had 5 protective crystals, there was no need to take the risk. Then let's use this protective crystal of mine for the experiment. Liang Xiao stood up and said with a smile, I'm the weakest, let Xiao Yuhua attack me and see if she can activate the protective crystal's effect. Alright. Everyone nodded. Anyway, when they went to the void crack battlefield, the 5 of them would be moving together, so it didn't make much of a difference who they used. Soon, the 5 of them left the experience points exchange office and went all the way to the central square of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. This square was where the Academy tournament would be held. Usually, some Dragon Martial Artist students would spar here. Since there's no one around, let's take this opportunity to try. Seeing that the central square was empty, Liang Xiao immediately turned into a dragon and flew to the center of the central square. Xiao Yuhua didn't waste any time and directly turned into a dragon and attacked with Phoenix Dance burning the 9 heavens. Liang Xiao's guess was right. Liang Xiao was relatively weak, so the Laughing Language Flower's attack posed a threat to his life. After the Laughing Language Flower launched its attack, the body-protecting crystal directly exploded, forming a layer of water moonlight defensive barrier that spread to a radius of 15,000 meters around Liang Xiao. When Xiao Yuhua's Phoenix Dance burning the 9 heavens attack hit the protective crystal's defensive barrier, it immediately dispersed and disappeared without a trace as if it had encountered a layer of space barrier. On the protective crystal's defensive barrier, there wasn't even a ripple, showing how powerful its defensive ability was. Amazing! This is a defense with a radius of 50,000 feet. Before all 5 of us reach the level of Dragon Emperor Blood Essence, it can completely protect all 5 of us. Liang Xiao laughed. Although he had used up his protective crystal this time, it didn't matter. After all, Kang Xinmu and the others still had 4 with them, which would be enough for them to use when they went to the void crack battlefield. The protective crystal's defensive range was quite wide, and it was enough for them at this stage. Chapter 44-59. To Kang Xinmu and the others, the protective crystal was enough to protect them. Moreover, even the power of the Laughing Language Flower could not leave a mark on the protective crystal's defensive barrier. It was evident that the protective crystal's defensive strength was reliable. Since the Supreme Dragon's Shadow said that it was an unparalleled defensive power, it shouldn't have been killed by ordinary void demons. In that case, let's go to the Void Rift battlefield. Kang Xinmu did not have any worries after testing the protective crystal's power. He immediately decided to set off. In the sky above the Dragon Martial Continent, above the layer of clouds, separated by a supreme barrier, was a boundless void. In the distance, it was densely packed with stars, but in the near distance, it was a large, empty area. Being in it, one would feel a sense of loneliness. At this very moment, there was a crack in the void not far away from this void. The space around this void rift was distorted. It was the place where the void demons had invaded. No one knew where these void demons came from. However, the danger they posed was obvious. If they weren't kept outside and controlled near the spatial crack, once they invaded the Martial Dragon continent, the entire continent would be plunged into misery and suffering, and countless people would be killed or injured. The students of the 4 Dragon Martial Academies became the first line of defense against these void demons. However, when Kang Xinmu arrived at the Void Rift battlefield, he realized that the students of the Dragon Martial Academy were not the only dragon martialists fighting against the Void Demons. The Void Rift Battlefield. This was the Dragon Martialists' building located 10,000 miles away from the Void Rift. It was a huge disc that was built from a pitch-black material. From afar, it looked flat. This was the front line of the Dragon Martialists fighting against the Void Demons. All the Dragon Martialists who participated in the hunt for the Void Demons would use this disc-shaped Void Rift battlefield as a base to replenish their supplies. So this is the Void Rift battlefield. I didn't expect it to be a flat disc-shaped building. Liang Xiao, Xiao Yuhua, and the others were surprised and emotional when they saw it. I see. Kang Xinmu observed the place carefully after arriving and found that the disc-shaped building was divided into two sides. One side was the base of the four great dragon and martial arts academies. Here, Jiang Xinwu could be a student of Emperor Shi's Dragon and Martial Arts Academy and find the office of Emperor Shi's Dragon and Martial Arts Academy. He could rest and train there, and he could even exchange for some training resources and deal with demon hunting points. On the other side of the disc-shaped building were some Dragon Emperor powerhouses from the Dragon Martial Continent. These Dragon Emperor powerhouses could come and go freely. They were from the Dragon Emperor Kingdom of the Dragon Martial Continent. Many Dragon Emperor Kingdom had come to this place to fight against the Void Demons. For these Dragon Emperor powerhouses, there was no way to improve at all if they stayed in the Dragon Martial Continent. There were too few treasures that contained Dragon Mark energy in the continent. And this Void Crack battlefield was an excellent opportunity for them. Like the students of the four Dragon Martial Academies, these Dragon Emperor powerhouses could obtain a certain amount of demon hunting points after killing the Void Demons. They could use demon hunting points to exchange for treasures that contain Dragon Mark energy, as well as some cultivation treasures that could not be found in the Dragon Martial Continent. For them, although coming to the Void Crack battlefield was dangerous, it was also the only chance for them to improve. Who would be willing to give up such an opportunity? It could be said that all the Dragon Emperor powerhouses in the Dragon Martial Continent already knew about this and had made arrangements. As for themselves, there was a 90% chance that they would come to the Void Crack battlefield to fight. Of course, it was impossible for them to stay in such a dangerous place. Most of them would come to form teams to hunt some Void Demons and exchange for the cultivation resources they needed. Then, they would return to the Dragon Martial Continent to cultivate for a period of time. They could come and go as they pleased, so it attracted many Dragon Emperor powerhouses to come and try. Unfortunately, the battle on the Void Crack battlefield was too intense, and there would often be powerhouses from the Void Demons suddenly appearing, catching the Dragon Martial Artists off guard and causing them to suffer heavy losses. Basically, there were Dragon Emperor powerhouses dying near the Void Crack battlefield every day. And the Dragon Martial Artists who could survive and had the ability to hunt enough Void Demons were increasing their strength at a speed that was 10 times or even hundreds of times faster than before. Those Dragon Emperor powerhouses were now the vanguard and main force against the Void Demons. Without them, the students of the four Dragon Martial Academies would not have been able to stop the invasion of the Void Demons. After all, the students of the four great Dragon Martial Academies, the number of powerhouses in the Dubhe district and the Tianxian district added up was only slightly more than 100. Many of them had already died. How could they fight against the entire Void demonic race with such a small number of people? Up until now, the number of Dragon Emperor powerhouses from the Dragon Martial Continent who participated in the battle had already exceeded 1,000. Even if some of them only came for a short period of time and went back to cultivate, they had still made great contributions to the Dragon Martial Continent. The Void Demons could be said to be endless, appearing from the Void Crack. Basically, there would be a batch of them rushing out every month. That was the time when the situation on the Void Crack battlefield was the most severe. Basically, the reward of demon hunting points would be doubled at this time, because the danger of hunting Void Demons at this time was several times higher than usual. When Kang Xinmu and the others arrived, it had already been more than half a month since the last time the void demons rushed out. In other words, there was only half a month left until the next wave of void demons, about 10 days. In about 10 days, if Kang Xinmu could not properly equip himself, he might not be able to hunt enough void demons to obtain enough demon hunting points, double demon hunting points. I must seize this opportunity. And the prerequisite is that I must maximize my strength before the opportunity comes. Kang Xinmu brought the 4 of them directly to the office of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. What surprised them was that the Dean, Yu Yaji, was actually personally handling matters in the office. At the same time, it could be considered as guarding the void crack battlefield. Kang Xinmu, I heard that you are coming. When Yu Yaji saw Kang Xinmu, she was not surprised. It was obvious that the supreme dragon shadow that appeared above the beast abyss had already communicated with her. Yu Yaji was quite happy to see Kang Xinmu. Chapter 4460. Kang Xinmu was rather flattered. He did not expect Yu Yaji to personally receive him at the Void Rift battlefield. Without a doubt, his status was rather special. Even in the 4 dragon academies, there had never been a dragon martial artist like him who could fight above his level. Because of this, the Supreme Dragon Shadow paid so much attention to Kang Xinmu and even gave each member of his team a protective crystal. Under Yu Yaji's lead, Kang Xinmu quickly learned about the new treasures that could be exchanged with demon hunting points in the Void Rift battlefield. Of course, many of them could be exchanged in the Dragon Martial Academy, but it was cheaper to exchange them with demon hunting points here. The demon hunting points and experience points were the same, so the points that Kang Xinmu had obtained in the Beast Abyss were converted to demon hunting points in the same ratio. The demon hunting points could be exchanged for about 50% more ordinary treasures than what could be exchanged with experience points in the academy. Without a doubt, this was a free profit for Kang Xinmu and the rest. Even if he used them to exchange for some treasures that contained the energy of the dragon mark, Kang Xinmu would be able to devour the energy within and break through to the 7th level of the Dragon King, the Divine Dragon Blood Essence grade. And there would be quite a lot left. Of course, after coming to the Void Rift battlefield, Kang Xinmu realized that it would be too much of a waste of demon hunting points to exchange for those treasures. That was because there were many precious treasures that could be exchanged here that could not be exchanged in the Dragon Martial Academy. The energy of the Dragon Mark is not too urgent for me. My current battle strength is already comparable to that of a powerhouse of the Dragon Emperor's level. So there's no need to rush. I can exchange for other cultivation resources first to further increase my battle strength. Kang Xinmu thought to himself. He first set his eyes on a type of treasure known as the Rising Dragon Marrow. For dragon martial artists, this was the key material for the dragon martial artist to break through to a higher level. As everyone knew, the dragon martial artist's dragon martial techniques could be divided into 4 levels: human, earth, dragon, and heaven. Reaching the heaven level was basically the peak. However, this was under the condition that he had not obtained any further cultivation resources. If one could obtain the Ascending Dragon Marrow, then one of the heaven-grade origin dragon martial skills that a dragon warrior cultivated could break through to a higher level. Above the heaven rank was the saint rank. The purpose of the Ascending Dragon Marrow was not to allow the source dragon martial technique to break through to the martial saint tier, but to mold the bone marrow of the dragon martial artist, allowing the dragon martial artist's bone marrow to become closer to that of a natural divine dragon. In this way, he would be able to get closer to the divine dragon's origin. Thus, he would have the possibility of breaking through the origin dragon martial technique to the martial sage level. Void Dragon Raising the Heavens break, there is no need for me to make a breakthrough in this dragon martial technique. But the Chaos Dragon Body, Kang Xinmu had always admired the chaotic dragon body. Although this origin dragon martial technique came from the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty, its effect was quite good. Among the body-tempering dragon martial techniques, it had a very outstanding effect. The key was that after cultivating the chaotic dragon body, a dragon martial artist would have a strong resistance to all kinds of elemental powers. If it was an ordinary dragon martial artist, the effects would not be particularly obvious after cultivating. However, Kang Xinmu was different. He had the innate ability of devouring. By devouring the opponent's power, he could further increase his resistance to the opponent's power. The effects of the two stacked together and could produce an extremely special effect, making Kang Xinmu like a steel fortress, incomparably hard. For example, when Kang Xinmu was in the Beast Abyss Nether Sea, he was able to directly contend against the terrifying strange fish demon emperor, who was at the 6th level of the Samsara realm. He had relied on the stacking effect of the two. It could be said that if the divine dragon tyrant body technique did not have the ability to switch between the three postures, then the divine dragon tyrant body technique's improvement to Kang Xinmu's physical strength would not even be comparable to the chaotic dragon body. It was precisely because of this that Kang Xinmu was immediately tempted when he saw the ascending dragon marrow. The ascending dragon marrow was the standard resource for powerful dragon martial artists. To many dragon emperor mentors, it was not considered too precious, but to obtain it, a certain amount of points was required. As for Kang Xinmu, the demon hunting points he had obtained from killing the 6th level of the Samsara realm demon emperor were really not enough to exchange for one ascending dragon marrow. I have to kill at least 2 more opponents like this before I can exchange for one ascending dragon marrow, Kang Xinmu sighed. He could only put the ascending dragon marrow at the back of his mind and not think about it. After all, the demon hunting points required were a little too much, and he could not afford it now. However, the ascending dragon marrow was not the only good thing in this Void Fisher battlefield. The divine dragon weapon was a good thing that Kang Xinmu paid more attention to. This was a powerful dragon weapon above the heaven-grade dragon weapon. In terms of power, it was at least twice as powerful as a heaven-grade dragon weapon. The key was that as long as he had a divine dragon weapon, he would be able to sense the aura of the divine dragon more clearly. This was because every divine dragon weapon was condensed from the power of a real divine dragon. If it was a divine dragon weapon that was compatible with the dragon martial artist, it could even directly increase the strength of the dragon martial artist by several times. With a divine dragon weapon, the improvement of the divine dragon blood essence would be faster than before, and the speed of comprehending and cultivating dragon martial techniques and breaking through to the next realm would be much faster than before. This was the most important invisibility effect of the divine dragon weapon. It was a pity that to exchange for a divine dragon weapon, he needed more demon hunting points than the ascending dragon marrow. For the time being, Kang Xinmu could not consider it. Other than that, there was the divine dragon martial technique. If the origin source dragon martial technique was the innate skill of a real divine dragon, then the divine dragon martial technique was a powerful technique that even a real divine dragon had to cultivate to be able to use. Every move of the divine dragon martial technique was an extremely terrifying move. It was several times stronger than a high-grade origin source dragon martial technique. These were all good things that Kang Xinmu did not know before. Now that he knew, it was a pity that he did not have enough demon hunting points. Therefore, he could only settle for second best and choose some resources that could temporarily increase his strength. For example, the body parts of the prehistoric tyrant body beast could be used to cultivate the divine dragon tyrant body technique. Of course, it was impossible for Kang Xinmu to break through to a higher realm within 10 days. Therefore, Jiang Shenwu still planned to exchange for some heaven and earth treasures to raise his cultivation realm to the next level. If he could reach the 8th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm, then his strength would increase again, and the Void Fisher battlefield would be even safer. Chapter 4461. After arriving at the Void Rift battlefield, Kang Xinmu did not plan to cultivate in seclusion. Not long after he arrived, he learned that void demons would rush out of the Void Rift once every month. He knew that he did not have much time left. Every time the void monsters attacked, although it was dangerous, it was also a great opportunity. On one hand, there were many void demons. On the other hand, killing void demons in the next 10 days would give him double demon hunting points. In other words, killing one was equivalent to killing two. Kang Xinmu did not want to miss such an opportunity. Hence, cultivating in seclusion was too wasteful for him. Since his strength could not increase too much in a short time, Kang Xinmu did not plan to cultivate in seclusion. He would first experience the next void demon's attack. There were still 10 days left. Kang Xinmu planned to devour natural treasures to increase his cultivation level while observing the situation on the battlefield. He wanted to adapt to the situation in case it was too urgent and he could not adapt. He exchanged some cultivation resources with Yu Yaji and left with the 4 of them. The 4 of them did not have enough demon hunting points to exchange for anything useful. They could only save up and exchange for more in the future. Even if Kang Xinmu had the ability to devour all the natural treasures, it would not allow him to reach the 8th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm. Moreover, Kang Xinmu did not have the time to return to the Dragon Emperor Yen to make a breakthrough. Hence, they went to the battlefield just like that. However, before they officially set off, they still went to the other side of the void disk. Those who could come here were all Dragon Emperor experts of the Dragon Emperor country in the Dragon Martial continent. Perhaps there were also a few dragon monarchs who brought their talented heirs here for the sake of obtaining more demon hunting points to improve themselves. Although they did not belong to the 4 great dragon martial academies, the rules for obtaining demon hunting points were the same as the students of the 4 great academies. There was no difference, and they were not discriminated against. However, at the same level, the Dragon Emperor powerhouses were naturally not as powerful as the students of the Dragon Martial Academy. Here, Kang Xinmu saw many Dragon Emperors above the 7th level of the Rebirth Tribulation Realm. Although the strength of these Dragon Emperor powerhouses wasn't much in the same realm, they were older and had cultivated for a long time. Their cultivation base was basically higher than the students of the Dragon Martial Academy. At least, most of the Dragon Emperor powerhouses here were not people that Kang Xinmu could contend with. Hence, they did not come to the Void Rift battlefield to die. In fact, many Dragon Emperor elites could hunt down many void beasts to gain demon hunting points to improve themselves. However, their talents were limited. Even if they obtained the same demon hunting points as the Dragon Martial Academy students, they would not be able to improve as much as the Dragon Martial Academy's students. The Dragon Martial Academy's students would be able to absorb 40 to 50% of the same treasure. However, these Dragon Monarch powerhouses could basically absorb 30% of it, and that would already be very good. It was also because of the limitations of their talents that the Divine Dragon Inheritance blood essence of these Dragon Monarchs were stuck at the bottleneck of the Dragon Monarch realm. They were either at the 1st or 2nd level, and even the 3rd level of the Dragon Monarch was rare. Even if they exchanged for resources that contain Dragon Mark energy, it would be useless. If they could not break through the bottleneck, no matter how many cultivation resources they had, it would not be enough. Of course, if they had enough cultivation resources, they might be able to break through by spending 5 times the resources. However, these resources were too precious for Dragon Emperor powerhouses. Basically, they would rarely exchange for resources that contain Dragon Mark energy. Instead, they would exchange for stronger Dragon Martial techniques or Ascending Dragon Marrow. It should be noted that these Dragon Sovereign powerhouses had basically cultivated their origin source Dragon Martial techniques to the peak of the Heaven tier. Furthermore, very few of them had cultivated mid-level or high-level origin source Dragon Martial techniques. Coming to the Demon Hunter battlefield, they could exchange for some mid-level or high-level origin source Dragon Martial techniques or Ascending Dragon Marrow to increase the limits of their Dragon Martial techniques to the Sage level. The resources in the Demon Hunter battlefield were undoubtedly a huge treasure trove for them. As long as they had enough demon hunting points, they could increase their combat power by leaps and bounds. Unfortunately, to Kang Xinmu and the rest, it was more difficult. They did not even have a good foundation. If they really wanted to consider ascending dragon marrow, divine dragon martial techniques, or divine dragon weapons, they would undoubtedly be biting off more than they could chew. Of course, they would still exchange for them if they could. After all, things like divine dragon weapons were beneficial to their future cultivation. To Kang Xinmu, they could speed up his cultivation by quite a bit. The Void Disk was the base of the Dragon Martial Continent's Dragon Martial practitioners in the Void Crack battlefield. Kang Xinmu strolled around the Void Disk and gained a better understanding of the overall situation of the Dragon Martial Continent. During the stroll, the Dragon Emperor powerhouses, as well as some seniors from the Dubhe district and Tianxian district, were a little surprised when they saw Kang Xinmu. Some students from Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy even greeted Kang Xinmu and asked about the general situation. After all, the students now knew the dangers of the Void Crack battlefield. Very few people would take the initiative to come to the Void Crack battlefield before reaching the Tianxian district. Even if Kang Xinmu could challenge those of a higher level, his cultivation level and the grade of the divine dragon essence blood were too low. Logically speaking, with his cultivation level, it would be difficult for him to reach the Tianji district. Now that he actually came to the Void Crack battlefield, some people felt that he was playing with his life. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that Kang Xinmu had obtained the protective crystal from the Supreme Dragon Shadow, even he himself would feel the same way. After strolling around the Void Disk, he did not encounter anyone who came to look for trouble. The students from Donghuang Yangwu College only looked at him coldly from afar when they saw him. Obviously, these students from Donghuang Yangwu College still cared about Kang Xinmu. After all, Kang Xinmu had defected from Donghuang Yangwu College. Now that Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy had obtained such a great achievement, it was undoubtedly a humiliation for the entire Donghuang Yangwu College. He actually came to the Void Demon Hunter battlefield so early. He's simply courting death. I'd like to see how many Void Demons he can kill. You don't say. If he's lucky enough to survive, the rewards he will obtain will be much better than what he obtained in the Beast Abyss. Many people began to discuss in private. Kang Xinmu could not be bothered with them. Anyway, as long as they did not provoke him, he did not care what they said. As long as he was strong, he did not care what they said behind his back. All the rumors would collapse on their own. Kang Xinmu swallowed all the treasures of heaven and earth that he had exchanged, but he had not absorbed them yet. He planned to slowly absorb them over the next 10 days. Anyway, it was impossible for him to break through in such a short time. Then, he brought the 4 of them together and prepared to go to the Void Disk to familiarize themselves with the surroundings. Let's go. Chapter 4462. The endless starry sky was filled with the remnants of the aura of void demons. Occasionally, the howls of some void demons could be heard from the void not far away. Kang Xinmu and the other 4 transformed into dragons and flew out of the Void Disk. They discovered that around the Void Disk, there seemed to be a few supreme mystical dragons working together to build a boundary, sealing off the space around the Void Chasm. As the Void Chasm was too large, the defensive strength of the boundary was scattered, and the overall strength was not too strong. Any supreme void demonic creature would be able to blast a hole in this defensive barrier. However, it was said that no supreme void demon had appeared yet. At most, it was equivalent to a super mystical dragon-level demon marshal. Once a demon marshal appeared, Yuya Ji, Zhua Xiaofan, and the other deans would have to make a move. At the same time, Kang Xinmu also heard that the old patriarchs of the hidden dragon martial artist family had come to the Void Disk to hold the fort and face the enemy together. This time, it could be said that the entire dragon martial continent had joined forces to face the enemy. Once the void demons truly invaded the dragon martial continent, it would be a disaster. And now, they were still blocked in the boundary around the void chasm. With just the strength of the void demons, they could not rush out for the time being. Therefore, the void disk was safe, and so were the surrounding spatial zones. Only after entering the boundless barrier would they encounter void demons. Inside the boundary, Kang Shinmu and the other four became vigilant. The remnant aura of the void demons here was too strong, as if countless void demons had died here. Looking at the translucent and incomparably vast supreme barrier in the void, Jiang Shenwu thought to himself, I'm afraid that when the void demons first charged out, they must have engaged in a great battle with the supreme dragon god and super dragon god here. Ordinary void demons are naturally not their match. Even if there were thousands of them here, they would be reduced to ashes in one move. Kang Shinmu sighed. The strength of one's strength was too important. With his current strength, he was just like cannon fodder here. Of course, his growth potential was great. As long as he grew, he would be able to stand alone in this void chasm battlefield. The five of them entered the Supreme Spirit formation together. He could vaguely sense the fluctuations of battle coming from the vicinity. There were other groups of dragon warriors moving together. There were dragon emperors from the martial dragon continent, as well as students from the Heaven Core and Heaven Jade districts of the four great academies. In the darkness, everyone carefully moved forward, planning to find a void demon to practice on. According to intelligence, the void aberrations that are roaming outside are basically members of the scout squad. They're fast, agile, and have a special way to transmit information. Once they discover us, we might have to face even stronger monsters. The previous wave of void monsters that charged out of the void rift hasn't been completely exterminated. Aside from the leader of that group, there are still quite a number of void monsters left. They're purposely giving us a chance to train. Laughing Language Flower began to talk about the information she had obtained from the void disk. It's not just for us, right? Liang Xiao smiled. There are quite a number of void monsters. Even if it's a super dragon god or a supreme dragon god, they wouldn't have the energy to kill them all. They can only leave it to us. That's right. Seniors most likely have other things to do. Kang Shinmu turned to look at the Supreme Spirit Formation. Just like this Supreme Spirit Formation, it was basically impossible for anyone other than the Supreme Dragon God to create. This was a Supreme Spirit Formation that spanned tens of thousands of miles. The void chasm was incredibly vast. If they could not wrap it up, the void monsters would be able to reach the protective barrier of the martial dragon continent. Then the martial dragon continent would be in grave danger. Restricting the void aberrations to a small area near the void rift was the best outcome. The void monsters that charged out at the beginning might be wandering around in the surrounding space, but the small number of void monsters would not be able to cause much trouble. The four academies basically only organized a small team to exterminate the void monsters. The most important thing was the void disk, which sat outside the Supreme Spirit Formation and guarded the void chasm to ensure that no more void monsters would charge out. Kang Shinmu and the other four flew into the depths of the Supreme Spirit Formation. The Nightmare Ink Beast seems to be very useful in such an environment. Kang Shinmu looked at the surrounding pitch-black environment and suddenly thought of something. Without a doubt, in such a pitch-black environment, if the Nightmare Ink Beast wanted to hide, no one would be able to discover its existence at all. And now, the Nightmare Ink Beast seemed to be helping Kang Shinmu and the other four conceal their auras. Although it could not completely conceal them, it could at least reduce the distance that their auras could travel by several times. In this way, the probability of them being discovered by the Void Monster Patrol was reduced to 1/5 of the original. On the contrary, under such circumstances, Kang Shinmu's senses were extremely sharp. It was very likely that he would be the first to discover the Void Monster Patrol. Isn't that Kang Shinmu? Suddenly, before Kang Shinmu and the others encountered a void monster, a surprised voice suddenly came from the side. Kang Xinmu's expression changed slightly. He looked in the direction of the voice and saw two familiar faces at a glance. Luo Han and Su Qin. Luo Han and Su Qin were originally Yuheng District students of Donghuang Yangwu College. But now, their strength seemed to have improved by leaps and bounds. They had reached the level of the Dragon Emperor's inheritance blood essence, and had broken through to the first level of the rebirth tribulation state. Moreover, their respective dragon martial techniques must have improved greatly. Otherwise, they would not have appeared in this place. After all, this place was basically a place that students who had reached the Heavenly Jade District could come to. In addition to Luo Han and Su Qin, there were 3 other students of Donghuang Yangwu College walking with them. They were also a 5-person team training in the vicinity. When they met, Luo Han and Su Qin greeted each other with some surprise. "You guys know Kang Xinmu?" The other 3 students of Donghuang Yangwu College seemed to be stronger than Luo Han and Su Qin. When they saw Kang Xinmu, their expressions changed slightly. Obviously, they did not have a good impression of the name Kang Xinmu. "We've crossed paths before." Luo Han nodded with a somewhat complicated look on her face. "It's better for us not to come into contact with such a treacherous person." One of the black-clothed women looked at Kang Xinmu and said lightly. "Not to mention, in this supreme boundary, he turned into a dragon and flew away. He simply does not know how to write the word death." Hearing her words, Luo Han and Su Qin's expressions became even more complicated. Obviously, they still had a good impression of Kang Xinmu. Unfortunately, in the current situation, they could not catch up with Kang Xinmu. Chapter 4463. The woman in black seemed to be the leader of the 5, and her words carried the most weight. As soon as she spoke, the other 2 men behind her looked at Kang Xinmu with disdain, as if they didn't want to talk to him at all. As for Luo Han and Su Qin, they looked at Kang Xinmu apologetically, not daring to say anything more. It could be seen that in this void crack battlefield, Luo Han and Su Qin were only following the black-clothed woman. Since the black-clothed woman had said so, although they felt sorry for Jiang Xinwu, it was not convenient for them to say anything more. "You're Qin Xiaoya, right?" Kang Xinmu looked at the woman in black. He remembered some of her battles. After all, Kang Xinmu had participated in the academy tournament at Donghuang Yangwu College, so he had some impressions of some of the strong people from Donghuang Yangwu College. Qin Xiaoya hadn't transformed into a dragon yet, so he couldn't tell how strong she was. But since it was a battle between Luo Han and Su Qin, she should be pretty strong. She should be a student from the Jade District. She hasn't reached the Sky Core District yet. Kang Xinmu thought to himself. Students from the Sky Core District usually didn't bring students from the Jade District with them when they went out to hunt, because they were basically a burden. The difference in strength was too great, and the others couldn't help much in a fight. So Qin Xiaoya should be a student from the Jade District, but she should be one of the stronger ones in the Jade District. Come to think of it, she should be about as strong as the monster emperor fish that Kang Xinmu had killed in the Beast Abyss. "I'm Qin Xiaoya. I didn't expect you to recognize me." Qin Xiaoya glanced at Kang Xinmu, her expression still indifferent. "But why do I feel like it's a shame to be recognized by you?" "Hey, don't go too far." Liang Shao was immediately displeased when he heard this. He stood up and said, "Jiang Xinwu was forced to leave by your academy's dean. Do you really think he wanted to defect? Do you have the right to speak here?" Qin Xiaoya glanced at Liang Shao, her expression turning cold. "Let me give you a word of advice. Don't be too arrogant in this void rift battlefield. There are many people who want to cause trouble for you. I don't have the time to play with you. I hope I'll see you again next time. Don't die here." As soon as she finished speaking, she wanted to leave with her people. But at this moment, "Be careful." Kang Xinmu bellowed. He was originally in the form of a divine dragon, but at this moment, he charged towards the void on the side. His shout alerted many people around him. Although Qin Xiaoye looked down on Kang Xinmu, she hadn't completely let down her guard in the Void Rift battlefield. At this time, the 5 of them immediately transformed into dragon warriors and flew to the side. They wanted to dodge first and observe the situation before making a plan. This was the best way to handle a situation in a dangerous area. Immediately after, the black dragon that Kang Xinmu had transformed into charged towards the void, and in that area, a terrifying demonic aura erupted. It's 2 demon generals. They're both middle-level demon generals. In the previous demonic trial, only students from the Heaven's Core and Heaven's Jade districts were qualified to challenge middle-level demon generals. Moreover, students from the Heaven's Jade district might not necessarily be able to defeat them. But now, after the experience points reward from the demonic trial, and after half a year of accumulation, the Dragon Martial Academy's students had basically improved a lot. Qin Xiaoye was originally a 2nd-level divine dragon blood essence of the Dragon Emperor, and a 3rd-level reincarnation tribulation cultivator. And now, she was a 3rd-level divine dragon blood essence of the Dragon Emperor, and a 4th-level reincarnation tribulation cultivator. Luo Han and Su Qin had just reached the 1st-level reincarnation tribulation cultivator, and they had just broken through to the Dragon Emperor level. There was still a huge gap between them and Qin Xiaoye, so they didn't dare to go against her at all. The appearance of middle-level demon generals made Qin Xiaoye and the others extremely nervous. 2 5th-level reincarnation tribulation mid-level demon generals. If there was only one, Qin Xiaoye's team could completely deal with it. With Qin Xiaoye as the leader, their team's combat strength was still acceptable. But now, there were 2. In the battlefield, the appearance of 2 middle-level demon generals forced Kang Xinmu to stop his charging momentum. He stopped moving and quickly retreated. If there was only one middle-level demon general, Kang Xinmu could also try to deal with it. Their team would have no problem dealing with one middle-level demon general. But now that there were 2, Kang Xinmu had to be on guard against being killed by the other party. After all, this was the Void Rift battlefield. It was said that those void demonic creatures would kill dragon martial artists with all their strength when they saw them. There would be no probing attacks at all. If they attacked with all their strength, the 2 middle-level demon generals might very well kill Kang Xinmu. Therefore, Kang Xinmu quickly retreated. The 2 middle-level demon generals were each 10,000 feet long. They broke through their concealment in the void. In fact, they were hiding at the side and slowly approaching. They had not yet prepared to launch a sneak attack. Unfortunately, they were discovered by Kang Xinmu in advance, so they could only show themselves. It's all your fault. You swaggered into your divine dragon form and provoked 2 big guys. Qin Xiaoye's expression darkened as she grumbled to Kang Xinmu and the others. They are hiding and following behind you. Kang Xinmu snorted coldly. Their target is you. It has nothing to do with us. Kang Xinmu could confirm this. After all, he had the Nightmare Ink Beast's help, and his perception exceeded everyone else's. Bullshit. Someone in the opponent's camp spat. Sister Qin, let's leave quickly. We are no match for 2 middle-level demon generals. Qin Xiaoye also planned to do so. Although she could hold back one of them, there were 2 in the field. She did not think that Kang Xinmu and the others could hold back one. Even if Kang Xinmu said he could, she would not believe it. In her opinion, those who were not on their side were unreliable at critical moments. If Kang Xinmu directly ran away, what would they do? They could only face 2 middle-level demon generals at the same time. That would be a dead end, therefore, Qin Xiaoye planned to lead the team to retreat first. But at this moment, the 2 middle-level demon generals suddenly erupted with terrifying demonic qi. Waves of demonic chi formed ripples that swept out in all directions. It actually enveloped the entire space in the field, turning it into a space sealed by demonic chi. Not good, it's the demonic sealing mist. Luo Han's expression instantly changed. They used the demonic sealing mist. We're trapped. The demonic sealing mist was a demonic mist that sealed off space. It seemed to be something like a magic treasure that the void demons could use. While the monsters were training, everything on the bodies of the void monsters would naturally be taken away. But when it came to a real fight, these void demons would also use some items, such as formations, demonic weapons, and so on. Chapter 44-64. When the fog of sealing appeared, the faces of Qin Xiaoya and the other four turned pale. They did not expect to encounter such a situation. They had been hunting in this void crack battlefield for a long time and had plenty of experience in dealing with void beasts. However, this was the first time they encountered such a situation. The void beasts they usually encountered were basically the patrols of the void beasts. No matter how strong these patrols were, they could not be at the level of a demon general. They were basically at the level of a demon spirit. Although many of them were superior demon spirits, they could still be defeated by their team. They could even kill the other party before they sent out a message to avoid future trouble. However, Qin Xiaoya had not faced two middle-level demon generals head-on. Moreover, the other party had actually used the fog of sealing. This was completely out of her expectations. In other words, even if she wanted to run now, it was too late. Although the fog of sealing could be broken, it required time. Now that the two middle-level demon generals had directly sealed them up, it was clear that they would not give them time to break the fog of sealing. Su Qin, break the fog of sealing. The rest of you, fight the enemy with me. Qin Xiaoya had no other choice. Under such circumstances, she could only let Su Qin, who was proficient in formations, try to break the fog of sealing. The rest of them would fight the two middle-level demon generals with her. Kong Shinmu, help us fight the enemy. Lend me your dragon weapon. Qin Xiaoya snorted coldly and said to Kong Shinmu, these two middle-level demon generals came for you. Now that we are trapped together, lend me your great desolate devil sword, I can save your lives. In her opinion, Kong Shinmu's team of 5 could not deal with a middle-level demon general at all. That middle-level demon general was at the 5th level of the reincarnation tribulation realm, which was equivalent to the Dragon Emperor. Kong Shinmu's team of 5 basically only had the Dragon King. How could they deal with it? Therefore, it was better to get Kong Shinmu's great desolate devil sword first. That way, she might be able to resist the two middle-level demon generals alone. Unfortunately, how could Kong Shinmu hand over the great wilderness devil-rinsing sword to her? When Kong Shinmu heard Qin Xiaoya's words, he said indifferently, the two middle-rank demon generals are obviously coming for you. From the looks of it, they've definitely been preparing for a long time. They've even used the fog of demon sealing. It's impossible for them to be targeting us, who have just arrived at the battlefield of the Void Crack. But since that's the case, let's each deal with a mid-level demon general and not interfere with each other. Just as the two sides were halfway through the exchange, the two middle-level demon generals had already roared out, releasing demonic energy from their bodies, exploding out a terrifying demonic energy vortex, speeding towards the 10 dragon martial artists. The demonic energy vortexes that appeared along the way were incomparably terrifying, as if they were twisting the surrounding space into pieces. The other party didn't give Kong Shinmu and the others any time to talk. Kong Shinmu was halfway through his words when the black dragon's body already flew out with a loud bang, charging towards one of the middle-level demon generals, directly blocking between it and the other middle-level demon general. The other party's galloping momentum brought along surging demonic energy, directly crashing heavily onto Kong Shinmu's divine dragon body. Countless demonic energy surged, enveloping Kong Shinmu's entire person. Endless corrosive power swept towards his entire body. Seeing this situation, Qin Xiaoye and the others' expressions changed slightly. Qin Xiaoye didn't expect that Kang Xinmu would actually go over alone to stop one of the middle-level demon generals. To a 7th-level Nirvana Tribulation Realm Dragon King, Kang Xinmu was seriously too courageous. And most importantly, Qin Xiaoye and the others very quickly discovered that Kang Xinmu actually really withstood the middle-level demon general's demonic energy impact. Under the endless demonic energy's corrosive onslaught, although Kang Xinmu's black dragon body suffered intense corrosion, it still possessed tyrannical vitality after all. Divine Dragon Tyrant Body Art, Guardian Stance. When Kang Xinmu collided, he displayed the Guardian Stance, letting the defense of his divine dragon body reach the peak, directly blocking the middle-level demon general's impact, causing his figure to stop. Seeing this situation, the other middle-level demon general was a little surprised. Very clearly, the two middle-level demon generals also didn't expect that a mere 7th-level Nirvana Tribulation Realm puny Dragon King actually dared to fly over to stop them, and most importantly, he even blocked it. Originally, they didn't take Kang Xinmu and the others seriously at all. After all, the gap between them and them was really too great. They had chased Qin Xiaoye and the others all the way here, and originally didn't intend to make a move. Instead, they planned to fight for more demonic creatures to gather before making a move together. But they were discovered by Kang Xinmu. And at this moment, the scene of Kang Xinmu blocking the middle-level demon general made them realize that Kang Xinmu, this puny Dragon King, seemed to be a big threat. Of course, they knew that the fastest way to kill their opponent was to join forces with the two of them. Therefore, when the middle-level demon general in front felt that Kang Xinmu had appeared behind him and blocked his companion, he immediately turned around, and his 1,000-foot-long body rolled over, planning to join forces to kill Kang Xinmu. Unfortunately, Qin Xiaoye also knew that her chances of survival were not high. Now, she couldn't care less about fighting with Kang Xinmu. She attacked immediately, turning into a black hurricane divine dragon, raised her head, and let out a dragon roar. This dragon roar contained the astonishing power of reincarnation, gathering a terrifying whirlwind that landed on the middle-level demon general in front. Qin Xiaoye was a Dragon Emperor at the 4th level of the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm, and the Dragon Emperor's blood essence had also reached the 3rd level. With this strength, even in a one-on-one fight, she could easily contend against this middle-level demon general, and even kill it. Moreover, at the same time Qin Xiaoye attacked, Luo Han and the other two Dragon Warrior students behind her also attacked. Although the combined might of the three of them was inferior to a single Qin Xiaoye, their combined might was enough to threaten the middle-rank Devil General. After all, they were all elite students of the Dragon Martial Academy, and they were powerful to begin with. Otherwise, the two middle-level demon generals wouldn't have been hiding and waiting for more reinforcements before making a move. Now that they had no other choice, they seemed to only want to kill Kang Xinmu. They had no confidence in killing Qin Xiaoye, and were only stalling for time, at this moment. Qin Xiaoye's team stopped a middle-level demon general, and Kang Xinmu also stopped a middle-level demon general, separating them. The two Dragon Martial Artist teams each dealt with a middle-level demon general, and immediately felt the pressure in their hearts decrease greatly. Kill! Qin Xiaoye did not hesitate, and the power of the pitch-black hurricane erupted from her body, sweeping the entire area, and blasting towards the middle-level demon general. Chapter 44-65. Kang Xinmu could even withstand the attack of the 6th-level Reincarnation Tribulation State, not to mention the middle-rank demon general in front of him, who was weaker than the fish. At this moment, Kang Xinmu displayed the Dragon God Tyrant Body Technique's Guardian Stance, coupled with the recovery effect of the Dark Dragon Filth Mastery, allowing him to maintain his peak condition. Attack, kill! Kang Xinmu's deep voice sounded, causing Xiao Yuhua and the others, who could not hold back, to attack immediately. Xiao Yuhua and the others were waiting for Kang Xinmu's orders. After all, they definitely had to obey their leader's commands at this time. Seeing that Kang Xinmu blocked the middle-rank demon general, the four of them knew that it was time for them to attack crazily. Phoenix dance burns the 9 heavens. Ice-splitting sky-breaking slash. 9 heavens emperor dragon blood explosion. Void dragon raises the sky. The attacks of the four landed on the middle-rank demon general in the next moment. Unfortunately, they didn't cause too much damage to the middle-rank demon general. After all, the middle-rank demon general's physical body was strong. Even if he didn't use any defensive demonic skills, he could easily withstand the attacks of opponents of the same level. But sensing the four's attacks, the middle-rank demon general was still a little annoyed, mainly because it felt that its attacks on Kang Xinmu had no effect at all. Endless demonic aura surged. The terrifying power swept towards Kang Xinmu like a whirlwind. Guardian stance, block it for me. Kang Xinmu did not retreat, and directly blocked the other party's ferocious attack with his divine dragon body. This move, with endless surging demonic aura, was an extremely brilliant demonic skill. Once this demonic skill was used, even Qin Xiaoya could only temporarily avoid it. Facing it head-on would only lead to death. However, Kang Xinmu still did not dodge. He had just devoured a lot of demonic aura, increasing his resistance to demonic aura to a rather terrifying level. At this moment, coupled with the divine dragon tyrant body technique's guardian stance, he planned to forcefully resist the other party's super powerful demonic skill. Within the demonic chi storm, there were countless sharp wind blades that almost tore the space apart. With a loud rumble, they wrapped around Kang Xinmu's body. Even Qin Xiaoya's group was shocked by the commotion on the battlefield. Following that, something even more shocking happened. Under the violent attack of the demonic chi whirlwind, Kang Xinmu took it head-on and was not injured at all. Isn't his defense a little too terrifying? Qin Xiaoya's heart skipped a beat. She hadn't expected Kang Xinmu to be so powerful. With such a strong teammate, she was full of confidence in defeating the two middle-rank devil generals. Originally, she thought that Kang Xinmu's team would be completely annihilated. She didn't expect Kang Xinmu to be able to hold them off for so long. Continue. The laughing flower did not stop. Her entire fiery red divine dragon body seemed to burn the entire sky. Flames burned in the starry sky as the phoenix dance burning the 9 heavens martial technique pressed down. The lethality of her attacks became stronger and stronger. Hence, after 3 attacks, that middle-rank devil general could not even withstand her attacks. The black demonic chi all over its body was burned away. Moreover, it touched its tough demonic scales, almost destroying its demonic scales. There was also the ice-splitting sky-splitting slash from the young lady in the white dress. She did not stop at all. She kept slashing at the same spot on its body, fusing with the phoenix dance burning the 9 heavens and erupting with extremely terrifying power. Originally, she thought that Kang Xinmu only needed to restrain the middle-rank devil general and wait for her to finish it off. But now it seemed Kang Xinmu actually finished off his opponent even faster than she did. In everyone's eyes, after the dignified middle-rank devil general was bombarded by its own power, there was no room for struggle at all. Its entire black body, which was thousands of feet long, was instantly cut into pieces. Even the hard demonic scales on its body couldn't withstand the power coming from its body at all. This middle-rank devil general was also the type with strong attack and slightly weak defense. And now, when it was distracted and wanted to kill laughing flower first, it didn't even put up any defense. In reality, it didn't expect Kang Xinmu, who had such strong defense, to be able to explode with a power that could kill it. This move was beyond everyone's expectations. It also made Qin Xiaoya and the others in the field inexplicably shocked. Too strong. Luo Han and Su Qin also saw this scene with their own eyes, and their hearts trembled. They had carried out missions with Kang Xinmu before, but at that time, Kang Xinmu wasn't as strong as them. And now, Kang Xinmu was actually so much stronger than them. It was simply unbelievable. One dead, there's still one left. The dragon scales all over Kang Xinmu's body were somewhat corroded by the demonic aura, but it didn't seem to be a big problem. Moreover, it was still recovering rapidly and would soon return to its peak state. And in front of him, the middle-rank devil general had already been cut into pieces and completely lost its life. Even the demonic core that this middle-rank devil general cultivated was directly taken away by Kang Xinmu. Demonic cores were the foundation of void demonic creatures' cultivation. Just like the demonic cores of demonic beasts, it was the proof they obtained after hunting void demonic creatures. Now, she was at her wit's end in the face of the fog of sealing. It wasn't that she didn't understand the structure of the fog of sealing, but that her strength was still too weak. There were some crucial parts of the fog that she couldn't break. This was quite a headache. However, she was rather surprised that Kang Xinmu had brought people over at this time. We're here to help. If there's anything you need, just tell us. We don't know much about the fog of sealing anyway. Seeing Su Qin's expression, Kang Xinmu knew that she must have encountered some difficulties and had come to help. Many thanks. Su Qin nodded, then said seriously and gravely, the structure of this fog of sealing is rather complicated. There are a total of 4 formation cores, and it requires at least 4 people to break it at the same time. She glanced at Qin Xiaoya and shook her head. They're dealing with a middle-rank devil general, so naturally they can't help me. Luckily, there's Kang Xinmu. At this time, Su Qin felt that Kang Xinmu was really too good. Not only did this youth not fight with Qin Xiaoya for the spoils of war, he even came to help her. He was thinking from the perspective of everyone being able to escape. Immediately after, Su Qin explained a few things to Kang Xinmu, regarding the general structure of the fog of sealing, as well as the positions of the 4 formation cores. Xiao Yuhua, Xiao Bai, Ran Ran, Liang Xiao, go to these 4 positions. Listen to my instructions and break the formation at the same time. Kang Xinmu immediately made the arrangements. As for himself, of course he had more important things to do. Once the fog of sealing was broken, he had to sense the surrounding environment and situation as quickly as possible. Once he discovered danger, he had to evacuate as soon as possible. If he didn't make preparations and there was danger waiting outside, the situation would be quite bad. Yes. Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 listened to Kang Xinmu's instructions. After all, they were now very obedient to him. Under Kang Xinmu's leadership, they had obtained quite a lot of experience points. In any case, they felt that following Kang Xinmu was definitely the right choice. Immediately after, Su Qin made the arrangements. She injected her own power into the fog of sealing and began to break some of the key points. When she had broken through all the key points, she immediately said, "Now's the time. Attack." Xiao Yuhua and the other 3 launched their attacks at the designated position almost at the same time. Instantly, their power sank into the circle of fog of sealing, as if they had destroyed some key force, and the entire fog of sealing was blown away. It's broken. Kang Xinmu finally heaved a sigh of relief. After breaking the fog of sealing, he was considered to have ensured a certain degree of safety. Otherwise, not only would they be trapped inside, they wouldn't even know what was happening outside. When the fog of sealing dispersed, the battle on Qin Xiaoya's side was also nearing its end. Their battle prowess was already very strong, and a mere middle-rank devil general couldn't do anything to them. What was worth noting was that even though it was fighting to the death, the middle-rank devil general didn't have any intention of breaking the fog of sealing and escaping. Instead, it desperately tried to buy time. The middle-rank devil general even wanted to attack Su Qin and disrupt her, breaking the formation. Unfortunately, it was stopped by Qin Xiaoya and the others, and it didn't succeed. When the fog of sealing was broken, it just so happened that the middle-rank devil general was completely killed. Everyone present finally heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 44-67. Qin Xiaoya extracted the demonic core from the middle-rank demon general's chest as fast as she could. This demonic core contained tyrannical demonic qi, giving off an awe-inspiring feeling as the demonic qi swirled around it. However, when she saw this demonic core, Qin Xiaoya's face lit up, evidently very happy. She raised her head, and it just so happened that Xiao Yuhua and the other three joined hands to break the devil sealing fog formation around them. After the demonic sealing fog dissipated, a void scene appeared in front of them, allowing them to heave a sigh of relief. Qin Xiaoya also heaved a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that there were even stronger void demonic creatures lying in ambush outside. She glanced at Kong Xinmu, feeling that Kong Xinmu was rather tactful. If Kong Xinmu had wanted to snatch this middle-rank demon general from her, she definitely would not have let it go so easily. She would probably have fought with Kong Xinmu on the spot, and the situation would have been troublesome. In comparison, it seemed that Qin Xiaoya did not care about the bigger picture. Of course, Qin Xiaoya felt that she had dealt with a middle-rank demon general, and there was nothing to nitpick about in the entire process. At most, she had made an error of judgment when she had asked Kong Xinmu to hand over the great desolate devil-rinsing sword to her. At that time, she did not think that Kong Xinmu could contend against a middle-rank demon general at all. Kong Xinmu, Qin Xiaoya glanced at Kong Xinmu, and was just about to speak, when Kong Xinmu's expression darkened. "Be careful." Kong Xinmu did not hesitate at all, and the wind shadow flowing sunset flash erupted instantly. His figure flickered and appeared behind Qin Xiaoya. Qin Xiaoya was still in her black dragon form, but a majestic demonic aura suddenly appeared behind her. It seemed to have been hidden outside the demonic sealing fog, and only launched a thunderous attack now. Boundless demonic qi converged into a demonic qi saber light, and with an incomparably shocking aura, it slashed towards Qin Xiaoya. Qin Xiaoya reacted immediately, but unfortunately, it was already too late. She wanted to use her defensive dragon martial skill, but it was impossible for her to make it in time. The opponent's sneak attack was too fast, so fast that if not for Kong Xinmu's warning, she would not have been able to react in time. Luo Han, Su Qin, Xiao Yuhua, and the others were also powerless at this moment. They could only watch with wide eyes as the demonic saber light cleaved through the void and slashed towards Qin Xiaoya. That was a high-rank demon general. A high-rank devil general was not someone Qin Xiaoya could deal with. Even if the other party appeared openly, Qin Xiaoya would not be a match for him, let alone when the other party launched a sneak attack. Qin Xiaoya felt as if she had fallen into an icy cavern when she felt the violent, sharp demonic aura behind her. The demonic aura had already locked onto her, making it impossible for her to escape no matter what. However, at this moment, the silhouette of a black dragon flickered and appeared behind Qin Xiaoya, shielding her from the demonic saber light. Boom! A demonic vortex erupted in an instant, sending Qin Xiaoya's 1,000-foot-long divine dragon body flying. She was like a small boat that had been hit by the waves, unable to stabilize. She struggled to turn her head to look, only to see a black dragon that was twice the size of her divine dragon body, shielding her from the sharpest demonic saber light. That black dragon was none other than Kong Xinmu. Kong Xinmu was the Dragon King's inherited blood essence. After transforming into a dragon, his body was indeed a little small compared to the Dragon Emperor and Devil Generals. However, Kong Xinmu's defense was truly terrifying. For example, Dragon Emperor Yen was only slightly stronger than this high-rank Devil General. Therefore, it was already a very powerful existence on the Void Rift battlefield. When ordinary Dragon Warrior students encountered it, they could only run away. Only those Dragon Emperor powerhouses from the Dragon Emperor's kingdom could fight against such an existence. However, ordinary Dragon Emperor powerhouses did not dare to fight with a high-rank Devil General here, because the other party might have reinforcements rushing over. Therefore, even if there were Dragon Emperor powerhouses present, they would only deal with a high-rank Devil General when 3 or more people joined forces. Otherwise, they would just run away. It's a high-rank Devil General. Go quickly. Seeing this, Qin Xiaoye subconsciously wanted to escape. She looked at the divine dragon body of Kang Xinmu, who had blocked a fatal attack for her, and an indescribable feeling spread in her heart. However, when she looked at the terrifying and ferocious figure of the high-rank Devil General, she still decided to escape from this place. This was because she felt that if she did not leave, all of them would die. Sister Qin, wait for me. One of the dragon warriors who had been following Qin Xiaoye immediately followed without thinking, not even looking at Kang Xinmu. He wanted to live. When the high-rank Devil General appeared, he was already scared to the point of peeing his pants. Coincidentally, Qin Xiaoye shouted, so he immediately followed. He turned and wanted to fly away. However, right after that, 4 more figures appeared in the void behind them. Those 4 figures were 4 superior demon spirits. 1 high-rank devil spirit was enough to fight Qin Xiaoye to a draw. Even Qin Xiaoye could not force her way through these 4 high-rank devil spirits. Impossible. How did they come so quickly? Qin Xiaoye's face turned pale. I told you, their target is you. Jiang Shenwu calmly spoke. He inclined his head and directly faced that high-rank Devil General. There was no trace of fear on his face at all. High-rank Devil General. A high-rank Devil General at the 7th level of the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm was only slightly stronger than that terrifying strange fish demon emperor. Well, it was still much stronger than that. However, the key was that Kang Xinmu's resistance to the power of Devil Qi was already extremely strong after fighting. The high-rank Devil General's saber light just now also failed to kill Kang Xinmu. Chapter 4468. It was different from Qin Xiaoye and the rest who panicked and they saw a high-rank demon general. Kang Xinmu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the high-rank demon general. This high-rank demon general was the weakest of them all. It was at the 7th level of the Reincarnation Tribulation Realm, not the 8th or 9th level. As long as they joined forces, they still had a way to deal with a 7th level demon general. It was not hopeless. The crux of the matter was that Jiang Shenwu knew that since the appearance of this 7th tier upper demon general, it meant that this was the last void demon. The other party had been chasing Qin Xiaoye and the rest for a long time. It was enough to crush Qin Xiaoye with the power he had now. There was no need to send stronger void demons. In other words, as long as they killed this high-rank demon general, the pursuit would end. Moreover, a 7th level demon general's demonic core could be exchanged for a lot of demon hunting points. It could even be exchanged for a rising dragon marrow. One had to know that even to Dragon Emperor powerhouses, a rising dragon marrow was extremely precious. Their strength was comparable to this high-rank demon general, and some were even stronger. However, it was extremely difficult to kill such a high-rank demon general in the Void Rift battlefield. They not only had to consider the support of other void demons, but also their own distribution and cooperation. Many Dragon Emperor powerhouses did not completely trust each other. Everyone was afraid that someone they were not familiar with would backstab them. That would be tragic. And if they did not join forces, it was almost impossible for them to quickly kill such a high-rank demon general. Therefore, there were not many high-rank demon generals of this level that were killed, just like how there were not many Dragon Emperor powerhouses that died in the Void Rift battlefield. Powerful existences of this level all had extraordinary life-saving abilities. They were not that easy to kill. However, this did not exist for Kang Xinmu. After cultivating the Divine Dragon Tyrant Body technique and using the Guardian stance, the strongest power that Kang Xinmu could devour was about a 6th-level demon general. Kang Xinmu could only devour a third of this high-rank demon general's power at a time, but even if he could only devour a third each time, he would still be able to directly unleash an attack equivalent to the opponent's attack after enduring 3 attacks. If he were to play it safe, Kang Xinmu would be able to withstand 4 to 5 attacks from his opponent before launching a counterattack. Most importantly, he might not be able to hold on for that long. After killing the terrifying Demon Emperor, Kang Xinmu didn't improve much. Even that terrifying Demon Emperor almost killed Kang Xinmu, let alone this 7th-level high-ranking Devil General. If Kang Xinmu were to encounter him alone, he would probably run away immediately. But this time, there was someone behind him. Therefore, he wanted to give it a try. If they succeeded, all of them would reap a bountiful harvest. For the sake of successfully launching a sneak attack, this high-ranked Devil General didn't gather too much power in its first attack. Therefore, its next attack will definitely be stronger. Kang Xinmu didn't hesitate at all. He directly took out the monster cores of the monsters he had hunted in the boundary forest and swallowed 2 of them. He devoured the power within and quickly recovered from his injuries. However, the high-ranked demon general didn't give him any chance to heal. A terrifying demonic skill erupted from the high-ranked demon general. Endless demonic chi condensed into a whirlwind, and 9 terrifying saber lights appeared in the whirlwind. These 9 saber lights were cold and seemed to corrode the space as they slashed towards Kang Xinmu. This move was also not its strongest move. After all, in its opinion, Kang Xinmu was too weak. Although it didn't know how he had withstood its attack just now, he definitely wouldn't be able to withstand its second move. Now, all it wanted to do was quickly finish off Qin Xiaoya so that it could quickly leave this place. Although it wasn't weak, this place wasn't far from the void disk, so it was still a little afraid. If a few experts from the Dragon Martialist camp came and happened to encounter this scene, it would be miserable. It knew very well that it was in charge of hunting down Qin Xiaoya this time. It didn't have any backing. Therefore, it had to act quickly. After unleashing the 9 saber lights at Kang Xinmu, the high-ranked demon general planned to attack Qin Xiaoya. At the same time, there were a total of 8 figures of the high-ranked demon spirits around them. They were all a lot smaller than the high-ranked demon general. At this moment, they all surrounded them. They didn't attack, just to prevent Kang Xinmu and the others from escaping. Since they had appeared, they naturally wanted to annihilate this group of dragon martialists. What do? We can't escape. The dragon martialist student who wanted to escape with Qin Xiaoya saw that he was surrounded by the high-ranked demon spirits, and his divine dragon eyes immediately revealed a look of despair. If he were to dispel his divine dragon form, one could see that this person was so scared that his face was pale, and he was completely at a loss. Charge with me. Qin Xiaoya clenched her teeth. Sensing that the high-ranked demon general was attacking her, she didn't hesitate and directly charged in the direction of one of the high-ranked demon spirits with a burst of speed. The divine dragon flew swiftly in the void. Seeing this, the high-ranked demon spirit immediately displayed an extremely powerful defensive demonic technique, forming a demonic chi barrier in front of it. At the same time, the other 2 high-ranked demon spirits nearby came over to support. And the most terrifying thing was that the high-ranked demon general's attack would probably arrive soon. It had already passed Kang Xinmu and was planning to chase after Qin Xiaoya. Qin Xiaoya's attack landed on the high-ranked demon spirit's defense, causing a tremor to erupt. Unfortunately, it didn't shatter. Immediately afterward, she was surrounded by 3 high-ranked demon spirits. It's over. Qin Xiaoya's entire person was in despair. Feeling that the high-ranked demon general behind her was getting closer and closer, she suddenly gritted her teeth. Since she was going to die anyway, she might as well die with a bang and seriously injure this high-ranked demon general before she died. The pitch-black samsara power all over her body began to burn. She, who came from Donghuang Yangwu College, cultivated a mid-level origin source dragon martial technique called samsara ignition. This move could fuse all the samsara power in one's body together, condensing together into the most terrifying explosive power. After using samsara ignition, the dragon martialist's internal energy would be completely depleted, and it would take at least a few days to recover. However, this dragon martial technique was extremely powerful, and it was an explosive move at the last moment. Qin Xiaoye thought that even if she couldn't kill the high-ranked demon general, she would still severely injure this guy. In an instant, the black samsara power condensed into a violent whirlwind, finally merging into a small black ball. This high-rank demon general had the ability to recover rapidly. Then they looked at Kong Shinmu, and discovered that Kong Shinmu was like a withered divine dragon skeleton, swept up and corroded by the demonic qi storm. They didn't know if he was still alive, too strong. Xiao Yuhua and the others were all shocked. Even Kong Shinmu was heavily injured by the opponent's attack, and it was unknown whether he was still alive or not. Who else among them was a match for this high-rank demon general? Don't think so much, just attack. There's no other chance now. Liang Shao gritted his teeth. If there's no other way, we can only use. He glanced in the direction where Kong Shinmu was, and his heart felt as if it was being stirred. After all, Kong Shinmu was fighting on the front lines, while they could only hide behind. This was truly a humiliation for the Dragon Warrior students. Thinking of this, Liang Shao directly erupted with his fastest speed. Like a red stream of light, all the dragon blood in his body exploded crazily. Dragon blood meteor explosion. This was the high-grade source dragon martial technique that Liang Shao had exchanged previously. This dragon blood meteor explosion was an extremely powerful attack, but it would cause a certain amount of damage to the user. After all, it was a high-grade source dragon martial technique, and its attack effect was still very strong. Moreover, the side effects were not as extreme as samsara immolation. It would only cause a certain amount of dragon blood to explode, and one would be weakened for a period of time. However, after using this move, one would still have the strength to fight again. The dragon blood meteor explosion erupted in an instant, and along with Liang Zhao's dragon blood, it instantly landed on the body of the high-rank demon general. Seeing this, Xiao Yuhua, the girl in the white dress, and Ran naturally did not want to be left behind, and they all erupted their attacks towards the high-rank demon general. The power that erupted from everyone's joint attack was still quite powerful. At least after Qin Xiaoye directly injured the high-rank demon general with samsara immolation, the high-rank demon general still wanted to quickly heal his injuries. In the end, he suffered such a fierce attack, and immediately let out a furious roar. Without a doubt, this high-rank demon general did not expect these ants to dare to attack him. And it just so happened that the dragon martial technique of these ants worsened his injuries, weakening his combat strength by quite a bit. After the high-rank demon general roared, demonic qi erupted from all over his body, and the surrounding void trembled. It was as if a pitch-black vortex had appeared in the starry sky, gathering endless demonic qi in the surroundings, and then shooting out countless small demonic qi saber lights. Each of these small demonic qi saber lights' attack was extremely terrifying, at least for Liang Shao and the others. There was a fatal threat. In the face of this move, they could only retreat and huddle together, each displaying their strongest defensive dragon martial technique, layer by layer, to protect their entire body. If it really doesn't work, let's go to Kong Shinmu and activate the protective crystal. Xiao Yuhua said extremely calmly. Okay. The girl in the white dress nodded. Under the attack of countless small demonic qi saber lights, they could not do anything at all. They could only passively defend, and they were constantly being bombarded. If they retreated a little further, it would be the encirclement formed by the 8 high-rank demon spirits. Previously, the high-rank demon spirits formed an encirclement, intending to trap them, so they did not attack them, lest they revealed an opening and let them escape. But if they took the initiative to approach, the high-rank demon spirits would definitely not mind sending them on their way. They stopped their retreat in time, but in this way, the number of small demonic chi saber lights they had to endure increased. Even the 4 of them joining forces to defend seemed to be somewhat unable to hold on. Sister Qin. One of Qin Xiaoya's little followers immediately rushed in front of Qin Xiaoya. Qin Xiaoya had now lost all her strength, and her reincarnation power was exhausted. She did not have a trace of combat strength. Luo Han, Su Qin, and the other 2 rushed to Qin Xiaoya's side, protecting her in the middle. Unfortunately, each of them knew that their efforts were futile. As long as the high-rank demon general came to his senses, they would definitely die. And at this moment, the high-rank demon general's demonic chi saber lights were constantly exploding in the surroundings, leaving all of them to passively defend. It was also at this moment. Suddenly, an angry roar came from the surging demonic chi storm in the distance. Chapter 4470. Everyone did not expect that Kang Xinmu could actually still let out such a furious roar. Wasn't he already rolled into a skeleton under the demonic chi storm? When everyone followed this furious roar and looked towards the direction where Kang Xinmu was, they discovered that Kang Xinmu's pitch-black divine dragon body had actually already completely recovered. In this short period of time, Kang Xinmu directly devoured quite a few demonic beasts' demon cores. The value of these demonic beasts' demon cores was not low. It was just that they were obtained by Kang Xinmu from hunting demonic beasts outside the beast abyss, so he could not use them to exchange for experience points. Hence, these demon cores became an important means for Kang Xinmu to recover from his injuries. After devouring a total of 6 demonic beasts' demon cores, Kang Xinmu's injuries were completely healed. Furthermore, in the demonic chi storm, Kang Xinmu's resistance towards the power of demonic chi had already reached the peak. That was to say, if he were to withstand the full-powered attack of the high-rank devil general in front of him again now, he completely had the ability to withstand it. Of course, it was impossible to withstand it head-on. After all, the disparity between the 2 parties was really too great. But Kang Xinmu could dodge the vast majority of the other party's destructive power through the wind shadow flowing sunset flash. In addition, he could also devour 1/3 of the other party's attack strength. In this way, he could still barely contend with the high-rank devil general. All of you, get out of the way. Kang Xinmu's black dragon body flew towards where the high-rank devil general was located. His eyes were bright and full of expression. He could already sense that the high-rank devil general had already suffered considerable injuries. Regardless of whether it was the attacks of Xiao Yuhua and the others, or Liang Zhao's dragon blood meteor explosion technique, or that Qin Xiaoya's samsara ignition, they all caused the high-rank devil general to suffer considerable injuries, causing the strength that he could unleash to not exceed 70% of his peak condition. This was excellent news to Kang Xinmu. When Kang Xinmu turned around, intending to clash head-on with that high-rank devil general, that high-rank devil general was also taken aback by Kang Xinmu's sudden appearance. It had never imagined that Kang Xinmu would appear before it again, and remain unscathed. Although the black dragon's body seemed to be heavily injured, Kang Xinmu's condition was clearly at its peak. This was because Kang Xinmu relied on the devouring power to recover. On the surface, he didn't even heal the minor injuries. He was mainly protecting the important parts of the divine dragon's body. Therefore, even though Kang Xinmu seemed to be seriously injured, he was actually unscathed. He could even exert more than 100% of his combat power. After all, Kong Shinmu already had top-notch resistance to Devil Chi. This was his greatest advantage. Otherwise, even the aftermath of a high-rank Devil General's attack could kill Kong Shinmu. What do we do now? The two Dragon Warrior students stayed with Qin Xiaoya, almost trembling as they watched Kong Shinmu fly towards the high-rank Devil General. They weren't cowards, but they were still very young. When faced with the true threat of death, it was very difficult for them to remain calm. On the other hand, although Qin Xiaoya had lost all her strength and no longer had any combat power, she was still rather calm. Let's wait for Kong Shinmu to make a move and see if he can kill this high-rank Devil General. Qin Xiaoya's eyes revealed a trace of anticipation. Although she was prejudiced against Kong Shinmu in the beginning, after this period of interaction, she felt that this youth Kong Shinmu seemed to be different from the rumors. He didn't seem like the kind of person who would go back on his word at all. Therefore, Qin Xiaoya was a little curious about Kong Shinmu. Of course, it was only a little bit. This also made Qin Xiaoya have some expectations for Kong Shinmu. She wanted to see if Kong Shinmu could really kill this high-rank Devil General. After all, Kong Shinmu had already created miracles too many times. The first time Qin Xiaoya had a deep understanding of Kong Shinmu was during the demonic training. Although Kong Shinmu didn't know her very well, she remembered the youth who challenged his limits. Although she remembered the youth who betrayed Donghuang Yangwu College, now it seemed that this youth had nothing to do with the word betrayal at all. When Qin Xiaoya said this, the two Dragon Warrior students were a little depressed. They didn't expect that they would be in such a sorry state in this battle. In the end, they even had to rely on a young Dragon King who was at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation Realm to save them. Their current hopes were really all on Kong Shinmu. With 8 high-rank devil spirits blocking the way, it was impossible for them to escape this place with just their strength alone. And Qin Xiaoya had already lost all her fighting strength. If Kong Shinmu lost as well, then they would have no hope at all. The high-rank Devil General in front of them would definitely not let any of them go. When the high-rank Devil General saw Kong Shinmu coming over, he immediately roared. This roar was incomparably fierce, as if he had seen the enemy who killed his father. He directly exploded a terrifying attack towards Kong Shinmu. It wanted to take a closer look and see what was so special about this young dragon warrior. To be able to block 2 of his attacks in a row, this was definitely not simple. Perhaps this time, he had encountered a super genius from the Dragon Warrior faction. Countless Devil Chi gathered to form a whirlwind saber formation. Very quickly, it formed a storm and directly swept towards the place where Kong Shinmu was. The storm of this whirlwind saber formation directly enveloped a radius of 5,000 to 6,000 feet around Kong Shinmu. If Kong Shinmu wanted to escape, it would become an extravagant hope. The key was that his Sun Shadow Flowing Cloud Flash had not been cultivated to perfection. He could only shift a distance of 10,000 feet each time. Otherwise, as long as he cultivated the Sun Shadow Flowing Cloud Flash to another level, he would be able to avoid this attack. Unfortunately, there were no ifs now. Facing the other party's whirlwind saber formation storm, Kong Shinmu could only brace himself and block it head-on. Divine Dragon Tyrant Body Technique, Guardian Stance. Kong Shinmu roared, and his entire Divine Dragon body instantly transformed into a steel barrier. His entire body lay across this void, towering and unmoving. Under the Guardian Stance, Kong Shinmu's Divine Dragon body's defense reached its peak. At the same time, blood-red engulfing power spread out continuously, and made contact with the other party's whirlwind saber formation storm. In an instant, the terrifying power bombarded Kong Shinmu's Divine Dragon body. Kong Shinmu did not have any defensive dragon martial techniques. To him, defensive dragon martial techniques were useless. His Divine Dragon body was still the most powerful. The strongest attack came crashing down. This time, Kong Shinmu directly engulfed close to half of the other party's attack power. Because he felt that this high-rank demon general's strength had been weakened by 30% after being injured. Then, if he engulfed the remaining 30%, it was equivalent to Kang Shinmu only withstanding less than half of its destructive power. And this also became Kang Shinmu's hope of blocking it. Chapter 4471. Such a process was undoubtedly excruciating. His physical body was destroyed, then reconstructed, then destroyed by demonic aura again, then reconstructed and restored. Such repeated pain made one feel despair just by looking at it. This was a little too savage. Qin Xiaoya and the others turned pale as they watched Jiang Shenwu endure the attack of the high-rank devil general. It was a scene that struck fear into the hearts of all who saw it. They had never imagined that Kang Shinmu would actually use such a method to fight. If he could not hold on for even a little longer, he would die right away without any chance of survival. Such a method of hand-to-hand combat would also make a dragon martial artist suffer unparalleled pain. No one dared to imagine what Kang Shinmu was feeling right now. Qin Xiaoya's feelings were even more complicated. The reason why this Jiang Shenwu is so powerful is not only because of his special innate talent. It's also because of his willpower. With such willpower, even if his talent is slightly ordinary, he will rise sooner or later. At most, he won't be as amazing as he is now. Unfortunately, there are no ifs. The willpower he is displaying right now is too shocking. Qin Xiaoya had a complicated look in her eyes. Having exhausted all the power in her body, her life was now completely in the hands of Kang Shinmu. Under such circumstances, some of the prejudice she had against Kang Shinmu seemed to have dissipated with the wind. After just a little contact, she realized that she had a better understanding of Kang Shinmu. No matter what, he should not be a treacherous person like the rumors said. He could even endure the pain of having his divine dragon body continuously destroyed and then reconstructed. Why would he go back on his word? Most likely, he was really forced to leave by Dean Zhuo Xiaofan. Of course, there was no point in dwelling on this now. The combat strength that Kang Shinmu had displayed now had definitely made Zhuo Xiaofan regret it. Even Qin Xiaoya felt that it was a pity. How good would it be if Kang Shinmu was still a student of Donghuang Yangwu College? Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Arts Academy would probably shine in the upcoming exchange between academies because of Kang Shinmu. Of course, the exchange between the academies might not be held as scheduled at the moment. The main reason was because of the appearance of the void crack. Right now, the main task of the 4 academies was to guard the void crack battlefield. As for the rest, they had to be postponed. After all, the exchange between the 4 dragon martial academies was mainly between the top students. Right now, the top students of the 4 academies were basically fighting against the void demonic creatures in the void crack battlefield. If all of them left, the void disk might not be able to hold on. So for now, the exchange between the 4 academies might not be held as scheduled. However, it was precisely because of this that Kang Shinmu would have the opportunity to become one of the top students of the 4 academies when the time came for the exchange. Of course, the premise was that they could pass this trial. Qin Xiaoya and the others naturally didn't know that Kang Shinmu and the others were actually very confident. Even if they couldn't beat a high-rank devil general, it wouldn't be a problem for them to survive. Activating one protective crystal would be enough to protect all of them. Of course, if they wanted to protect Qin Xiaoya and the others, one protective crystal might not be enough. That was why Kang Shinmu wanted to fight to kill that high-rank devil general. As long as he killed the high-rank devil general, the remaining 8 high-rank devil spirits wouldn't be a problem. The high-rank devil general was injured, and its strength was weakened. After being weakened by Kang Shinmu's devouring technique, Kang Shinmu finally managed to withstand it. The demonic energy of the whirlwind saber formation almost killed Kang Shinmu several times over, but he forcefully withstood the whirlwind saber formation. It was simply hair-raising. The high-rank Devil General didn't expect Kang Shinmu to have such a strong physical body and recovery ability. He immediately regarded Kang Shinmu as a genius dragon martial artist. The high-rank Devil General had dealt with dragon martial artists many times and thought that he had a better understanding of them. But now, he realized that he didn't seem to understand dragon martial artists at all. Who was this guy in front of him? He was clearly only at the 7th level of the Nirvana Tribulation realm, but Dragon King was actually able to withstand its attacks several times. This made the high-rank Devil General extremely angry, but it couldn't do anything to Kang Shinmu. Its attack methods were all similar, and the main thing was that their power was also similar. If the Whirlwind Saber formation didn't kill Kang Shinmu just now, it was even more impossible for other demonic techniques to kill Kang Shinmu. However, this high-rank Devil General was a powerhouse and had a certain status in the Void demonic race. Naturally, he also had special methods. Demonic weapon. In the next moment, everyone exclaimed. The high-rank Devil General had a pitch-black ball-shaped treasure on his body. Its entire body emitted pitch-black demonic energy, as if it had come from hell. The moment it appeared, the high-rank Devil General's aura became even stronger. With the help of this demonic weapon, the high-rank Devil General had the true strength of a high-rank Devil General. Previously, it didn't intend to use any real abilities at all. After all, in its opinion, the few dragon martial artists in front of it were too weak. But now, it discovered that Kang Shinmu's talent was too high, and his combat strength was also extremely strong. He was a top-notch powerhouse among the dragon martial artists in the same realm. Therefore, it had to kill Kang Shinmu, even if it caused the other dragon martial artists to run away. Such a genius dragon martial artist must be eradicated. Otherwise, after a while, he would definitely become a huge threat to the Void demonic race. Therefore, under the high-rank Devil General's stern shout, the surrounding 8 high-rank Devil spirits actually joined forces to attack Kang Shinmu. Unfortunately, Kang Shinmu was now ready to counterattack. Just as the 8 high-rank Devil spirits attacked and the high-rank Devil General took out the pitch-black demonic weapon, Kang Shinmu moved. It was also demonic energy. Terrifying demonic energy instantly spread out from Kang Shinmu's body, immediately forming a whirlwind saber storm, instantly enveloping the high-rank Devil General. The high-rank Devil General was simply dumbfounded. Wasn't this a technique that belonged to it? It was actually used by Kang Shinmu, and used against it. Obviously, it was very familiar with the demonic skill it cultivated, and even knew the weakness of its demonic skill. Therefore, right now, it planned to directly resist Kang Shinmu's attack. Unfortunately, it didn't expect that Kang Shinmu's attack was a combination of 30% of all its previous attacks. All added together, it was at least 30% stronger than a full-strength attack. Chapter 44-72. It's coming, it's coming. Luo Han and Su Qin were the most excited among the crowd. After all, they always knew that Kang Shinmu could create miracles. It was just that both sides were in different dragon martial academies, so they were in a somewhat antagonistic and competitive relationship. When they saw Kang Shinmu's counterattack at this moment, they were all a little excited. They watched as the 8 high-rank Devil spirits charged towards Kang Shinmu in the center, but Kang Shinmu did not care about them at all. Violent demonic chi whirlwind saber array burst out from his body and launched a counterattack at the injured high-rank Devil General. At this moment, the high-rank Devil General did not expect such a situation to occur. Although it was lying in ambush outside the demon ceiling fog, it did not know what happened inside at all. It also did not know that the first mid-rank Devil General was killed by Kang Shinmu in this way. At this moment, the whirlwind saber array descended. The demonic chi rampaged, causing the high-rank Devil General to be extremely shocked. This power was even more powerful than the demonic skills it displayed. The pitch-black ball treasure that appeared outside its body did not have any effect before it was drowned by the boundless demonic qi. So powerful. Practically everyone in the surroundings was flabbergasted by the scene before them. Kang Xinmu's powerful strength was deeply engraved in the hearts of Qin Xiaoya and the others at this moment. When the whirlwind saber array descended, even the high-rank devil general could not resist its erosion at all. The incomparably violent destructive power contained unimaginable lethality, breaking the high-rank devil general's hasty defense. Then, it landed on its demonic body, and endless destructive power suddenly erupted, as if it wanted to destroy everything. The high-rank devil general burst out a terrifying roar, and its demonic body began to crack. The whirlwind saber array condensed from demonic qi instantly tore its demonic body into pieces. The power that came from its own body was condensed together to counterattack, and it could not be blocked at all. The key point was that it was not mentally prepared. Therefore, this high-rank devil general was almost unable to erupt its true strength, and its demonic body was suddenly shattered by Kang Xinmu's sudden counterattack. With its demonic body shattered, how could it survive? The aura of the superior devil general grew weaker and weaker. Before it died, it sent a command to the 8 superior immortal spirits that were rushing over. Escape, run back, and report the news of the dragon warrior, Kang Xinmu, to the void aberrations. The appearance of the dragon martialist was a huge threat to the entire race of void monsters. If the race did not know of the existence of such a dragon warrior, it was very likely that they would suffer a great loss in the future. Perhaps not just a great loss, but many of their fellow demons would die at the hands of Kang Xinmu. He had to send the news back. The 8 superior demon spirits were originally patrollers, so their movements were agile and swift. At this moment, they retreated and fled in 8 directions. They did not hesitate in the slightest. If they stayed, they would most likely die. After all, this place was closer to the dragon warrior camp. If they continued fighting, they would definitely die. Moreover, they did not necessarily need reinforcements. Together, they could not compare to a high-rank devil general. Therefore, even the high-rank devil general had been killed by Kang Xinmu, so what use were the 8 of them? Therefore, they chose to escape from this place and strive to send the news back. Unfortunately, Kang Xinmu could not chase after them at this time. His injuries were very serious. The corrosive power of the opponent's demonic qi was far beyond what Kang Xinmu could withstand. If this high-rank devil general had not been lightly injured by Qin Xiaoya and the others, Kang Xinmu would have died by now. Even so, Kang Xinmu's current situation was not very good. Fortunately, the effect of his devouring power was extremely strong. With enough Yao cores on him, as long as he did not die, he could recover at the fastest speed. Seeing that the 8 superior demon spirits had escaped, he could not chase after them. He could only swallow another 2 Yao cores and devour all the power within to heal himself. He did not stop for even a moment with the dark dragon art of filth control. The demonic core of a high-rank devil general. The demonic weapon used by a high-rank devil general. Liang Shao was the fastest. He ran to the side of the high-rank devil general's corpse and took out the 2 most important items. There was no need to mention the demonic core. It was the main proof that they had killed this high-rank devil general, and it could also be exchanged for a lot of demon hunting points. As for the demonic weapon, it had a deeper meaning to the dragon martial artists. Generally speaking, among the void demonic race, only the devil generals had the right to use demonic weapons. Moreover, only high-rank devil generals had the right to obtain demonic weapons. Once they could seize a demonic weapon, it would be a great fortune. It was said that when these demonic weapons were forged, they used materials that did not exist in the dragon martial continent. Even supreme divine dragons would find it difficult to obtain such materials. This precious material was called demonic crystal. The demonic crystal was a material that was extremely compatible with the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. It could greatly enhance a dragon martial artist's compatibility with the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. If it was forged into a dragon weapon, not only could it increase one's battle strength, but it could also increase one's cultivation speed. Any dragon weapon with a demonic crystal in it was called a demonic dragon weapon. Currently, there were not many students in the 4 great dragon martial academies who had a demonic dragon weapon, because it was too rare. However, there were already some students who had obtained demonic crystals. After handing them over, they kept a portion of them for themselves, wanting to use them to forge their own dragon weapon. However, the forging of this demonic dragon weapon took a long time, and they also needed to pay a fee. Thus, until now, there had not been a single demonic dragon weapon forged. The demonic weapon that Kang Xinmu had obtained was a pitch-black spherical bead. It was only the size of a person's fist, but it was completely forged from demonic crystals. Compared to the demonic weapons that some people had obtained before, this demonic weapon contained even more demonic crystals. We can split the demonic core of a high-rank devil general together. Kang Xinmu kept the demonic core and demonic weapon that Liang Xiao had handed over, then looked at Qin Xiaoye, who was not far away. Originally, we could have split it equally, but unfortunately. In the end, the 8 high-rank devil spirits ran away. I'm afraid that they will report my news, which will increase the danger level of me in the void battlefield in the future. So, I personally need 40% of this demonic core. Qin Xiaoye, your people and my people will each take the remaining 30%. If you think it's okay, we'll split it according to this. This method of distribution could be said to be quite reasonable. However, a student behind Qin Xiaoye seemed to be somewhat displeased. He stood up and wanted to say something, but was stopped by Qin Xiaoye. Qin Xiaoye did not have any power right now. With a somewhat complicated look in her eyes, she said to Kang Xinmu, I agree with your method of distribution. In reality, even if Kang Xinmu wanted to swallow the entire demonic core, she would not say anything. After all, she did not have any choice now. Furthermore, if not for Kang Xinmu, she would already be dead, and none of the people she had brought would be able to return alive. Just based on this point, she agreed with Kang Xinmu's method of distribution. As for that demonic weapon, although she coveted it, she also knew that it would definitely not belong to her. Although she had put in a lot of effort in the process of killing the high-rank devil general, cultivation resources were limited. It was impossible for Kang Xinmu to give it to her for no reason. No matter what, Kang Xinmu was the one who had truly defeated the high-rank devil general. Most importantly, everyone had seen the pain that Kang Xinmu had suffered in the battle. If Kang Xinmu wanted to distribute it this way, who would not agree? Chapter 4473. Everyone quickly left the battlefield. The high-rank demon general's corpse was torn to pieces. Kang Xinmu put the corpse into the dragon-marked blood pendant space and took it with him. As for the 8 high-rank demon spirits that escaped, they naturally did not care. There were also 2 middle-rank demon generals' corpses. One was taken by Kang Xinmu, and the other was taken by Qin Xiaoye. The corpses of demon generals that had reached the level of demon generals still had some use. If the essence of the demon general's corpse was added during the forging of dragon weapons, the dragon weapon could have some effect on restraining demonic chi. This effect was very effective against the void monster hordes. Although the demonic dragon weapons had not really appeared on the battlefield of the Dragon Martial Academy, such dragon weapons that could restrain demonic chi had already appeared. Demonic crystals were not common, but there were plenty of demon general corpses. However, what Kang Xinmu and the others did not know was that not far from the battlefield, a blurry figure appeared near their battlefield. Even Kang Xinmu, who had extremely strong perception, did not notice the blurry figure's existence. He could feel that the blurry figure exuded the power of a dragon warrior, and even, supreme talent power. This was a supreme divine dragon watching the battle from the sidelines. Moreover, after Kang Xinmu and the others left, the blurry figure of the supreme divine dragon merely raised his hand and erupted with endless power of the void. This power of the void rapidly extended in all directions. In the next instant, the 8 high-rank demon spirits that had just escaped were all caught and brought back through the void. The blurry figure of the supreme divine dragon raised his right hand and clenched it, and endless terrifying power descended, crushing the 8 high-rank demon spirits into pieces. High-rank demon generals are indeed powerful. The blurry figure of the supreme divine dragon looked in the direction where Kang Xinmu had left and seemed to let out a faint laugh with a hint of satisfaction and appreciation. Naturally, Kang Xinmu did not know that the blurry figure of the supreme divine dragon had appeared and obliterated the 8 high-rank demon spirits. He had a feeling that news about him would spread to the void aberrations, and he would become a great enemy of them. If that was the case, he would have to be extremely careful in his subsequent actions in the Void Rift battlefield. Otherwise, he would be surrounded by void demons if he was not careful. Don't go to the battlefield for the next 10 days. Kang Xinmu shook his head. He had gained enough this time, so he could go into seclusion and cultivate for a period of time. Then, the next time the void monsters attacked the Void Rift, he would come back to hunt them. That would be the safest and most efficient way. Soon, they returned to the Dragon Martial Academy in the Void Disk. Qin Xiaoya walked with Kang Xinmu the entire time. Her attitude was no longer the same as when they first met. Instead, she was a little embarrassed to walk with Kang Xinmu. Along the way, she kept thanking Kang Xinmu. Kang Xinmu did not take it to heart. Anyway, it was fine as long as he had gained enough this time. He could occupy a large portion of the demonic cores of high-rank demon generals and middle-rank demon generals. It was enough for him to exchange for a rising dragon marrow. Once he obtained the rising dragon marrow, Kang Xinmu's strength would increase by another level. Let's go to the office of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy to exchange. Kang Xinmu glanced at Qin Xiaoya and suggested at the fork in the road. Qin Xiaoya thought for a while and nodded in agreement. On this side of the Void Disk, there were only the offices of the 4 Dragon Martial Academies. There was no joint exchange office. In the past, it was rare for students from different academies to join forces to fight and kill void demons. Now that Kang Xinmu and the rest had joined forces to kill a high-rank demon general, it was obvious that Kang Xinmu had contributed the most. If he wanted to exchange at Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy, then they would exchange at Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. In that case, the contribution of this high-rank demon general would be accounted for by Kang Xinmu and Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy. Qin Xiaoya and the rest would only get 30% of the demon hunting points. Of course, this was already not bad. By now, how could they not know that the group of void monsters was targeting them? Otherwise, Kang Xinmu and the rest would not have been targeted by the void demons when they first arrived at the battlefield of the Void Rift. However, it was different now. If Kang Xinmu entered the battlefield of the Void Rift again, he would very likely be targeted. After all, the news of this battle had already been leaked. In fact, Kang Xinmu had chosen to exchange demon hunting points at Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy because he was afraid that if he went to Donghuang Yangwu College, he would be secretly detained by Zhuo Xiaofan or even killed in secret. That would be tragic for him. In Kang Xinmu's opinion, Zhuo Xiaofan might really do something like that. Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy's office. It had not been long since Kang Xinmu and the rest left for the void demon hunting battlefield. When he came for the first time, Dean Yuyaji personally received him. But this time, Yuyaji wasn't there. Only another instructor from the Dragon Martial Academy, Dragon Emperor, was in charge of the office. When she saw Kang Xinmu and the rest, the beautiful tutor Dragon Emperor immediately narrowed her eyes and smiled. She was the beautiful dragon emperor tutor who was guarding the entrance of the barrier when they were training with the void demons. Tutor Linghu. When Kang Xinmu saw her, he immediately cupped his fists and bowed. Linghu Dai, was the name of this beautiful dragon emperor tutor. Naturally, Kang Xinmu could just address her as Tutor Linghu. Linghu Dai's beautiful eyes narrowed into crescents as she looked at Kang Xinmu. Her delicate nose twitched as if she had sensed something. She asked in surprise, Kang Xinmu, you killed a high-rank demon general? As expected of Tutor Linghu. You can tell at a glance. Impressive. Kang Xinmu was a little surprised. He did not expect Linghu Dai, to be so sensitive to the aura of a high-rank demon general. You have the demonic core of a high-rank demon general on you. It's impossible not to tell. Linghu Dai, covered her mouth and chuckled. You're here to exchange demon hunting points, right? Oh, who are these people from Donghuang Yangwu College? As she spoke, she looked at Qin Xiaoya and the other four. Qin Xiaoya wanted to explain, but Kang Xinmu beat her to it and said, I met them on the way and fought the enemy together. If not for them, I might not have been able to kill the high-rank demon general. When Linghu Dai, saw this, she was a little surprised. Originally, she thought that the high-rank demon general might have been killed by Kang Xinmu with Qin Xiaoya's help. But now, it seemed that Qin Xiaoya had killed the high-rank demon general with Kang Xinmu's help. This was too shocking. And if this was not the truth, then Donghuang Yangwu College's elite Qin Xiaoya would definitely not be willing to follow Kang Xinmu to the office of Emperor Shi's Dragon Martial Academy.